Welcome to After Dark. Tonight, we're digging deep into the shadowy aisles of the video store with a very special guest, Pizowell. Piz, what's going on, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
Any opportunity to talk about the video store and talk about slashers, it's like just a walk down memory lane. So I'm
The, be-
I'm ready. I've got my walking shoes on. Let's go.
the best of both worlds, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
How's everything going this evening? You doing all right?
hmm
Awesome.
Everything's good on this end.
Wonderful. So, together, we're rewinding the blood soaked reels of the 80s slashers that defined a generation. From cabins in the woods to high school hallways, from mass killers to final girls, we'll be revisiting the movies that kept us up way too late, daring us to rent them again and again. So, before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe. Can't even talk tonight. And then, so grab your popcorn, dim the lights, and join us as we step back into the golden age of VHS horror. This is After Dark. Uh, Piz, I want to start off by asking, so what are your earliest memories of the video store? Renting horror movies? What was your gateway horror movies?
Oh man. So the one of my very earliest memories is of the video store. I remember going there with my mother, and somehow I just found myself standing in front of the horror section, and it was like it was a transcendent experience. Just like I can remember where the horror section was in the video store. I remember there was a big window to my left, like shining sunlight in on all the VHS boxes, and just that artwork just blew my mind. Like I vividly remember the Evil Dead 2 staring back at me and looking at the Evil Dead and seeing that woman being pulled into the floor and thinking like, "My goodness, that's awful." And
Yeah,
all that artwork just it like from that moment on, I mean, that it just it got in the blood.
I swear the VHS cover art is something that I feel like is forever etched in our memories. I mean, the iconic movie posters that obviously, you can pick up in your hand and truly be able to appreciate these movies for what they are or wonder what they're going to be about,
Mhm.
right?
Well, we've lost that really because I mean that was art. That
Mhm.
was that was art made by an artist. Today it's all Photoshop or floating heads or just like an image from the movie. There's that that's a lost art form. The poster art is kind of a lost art form these days.
I agree. And a big part of it, you were talking about just how vividly you remember, what it was like walking the horror aisles and just, like basically browsing and seeing what movies you could pick up. I mean, it's almost kind of something that's just really lost at this point. We really don't get that anymore. We don't have that tangible feeling of being able to discover new gems.
Yeah, we really lost. I mean, there's unfortunately, I mean, there's a lot of people that today it's funny because I'll talk about the video store in videos or on live streams or whatever, and like it doesn't dawn on me that a good chunk of my audience has never been to a video store. Video stores were dead by the time when they were born. They were already gone. So like they don't have that experience.
It's so
And
sad.
it is a sad. I mean, it's sad. It's good that we did have that experience. It's sad that it's gone, but it's also really sad that like these younger people will never have that experience.
Yep. I know. It's definitely something that you look back on it, and I think a lot of this has come full circle in a lot of ways. I mean, collecting like VHSs, for a number of years, I just held on to a lot of them, not
Mhm,
realizing that there would be almost like a resurgence in that video store aesthetic. So to
mhm.
be able to come full swing, and be able to really, I don't know, like really enjoy the nostalgia, I think is and to be able to be a part of it back when it was so relevant is pretty special.
Yeah.
So we're talking 80s slashers tonight, and this is a subgenre that I feel like both of us have a lot of love for.
Mhm, mhm.
So I figured the best way that we could kick it off tonight is with a little known slasher called Prom Night.
Mm.
So What are your earliest memories with this movie? Was this something that you discovered early on, or did it take a little bit of time to discover, um, the
I
slasher?
I don't recall if I rented that one the first time I saw it or if I saw it, like, on late night cable television one night. But
Okay.
I can, I remember watching it. I remember, thinking like, "Man, it's really dark. I can't see what's going on." But of course, it's got Jamie Lee in it, so
Oh,
it's
yeah.
gotta be good. It's gotta got the phone calls. I remember thinking the phone calls were creepy.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you got the killer and the completely black outfit and the disco. That was another thing, like, disco? Being a
Yeah,
kid and being like, "What is this is weird."
yeah,
But yeah, and what's funny about prom night is and I don't love prom night. I
that's
like
fair.
prom night,
Yeah, I'm with you.
and I totally understand its significance, and I get it, but there's a lot of people out there, and I've talked to a lot of people over the years who, like, prom night was a huge, like, emotional experience for them. Like, they really
Really?
tapped into, like, the killer's, at the end when the killer's dying and he's crying out to his dead sister and all, like, it had a real emotional impact on them. And I guess that's part of that's part of it, that's part of people's love for it, or a lot of people's love for it, actually.
That's really interesting because I've never really, seen it in that light
Mhm.
because I always wondered, okay, so with Prom Night, for example, have you always considered this more of like a core 80s slasher, or do you consider this kind of like more of an underrated cult classic?
I kinda look at, like, I look at slashers like, there's your A tier slashers, your B tier slashers, and your C tier slashers. For me, Prom Night's more kinda in that B range.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not a top tier slasher, but it's significant enough to be in a discussion like this.
yeah, and that'll bring me to another point here in a little bit because I wanted to touch on what comes after this. But now, is there like a certain kill for this film that stands out the most to you? The decapitation, axe attack, anything like that in the film?
I always thought the shard of glass kill, I always thought that was pretty rad because that couldn't have felt good, that just jagged piece of glass.
Yeah.
If you've ever cut yourself on glass, like pieces of broken glass, it doesn't feel good. So
No.
that's the one that kinda
No.
sticks out to me. And I also wanted to bring up something about prom night also. It's kinda, it's an early, like, murder mystery slasher. You don't know who the ki you're guessing who the killer is. Like, Chainsaw Massacre, you've got Leatherface. Halloween,
Mhm.
it's Michael Myers. Aside from Friday the 13th, Prom Night was one of those very early murder mystery slashers.
You didn't really get a lot of that. Unless I mean, I just always remember, like, associating more of that with, like, the giallo films,
Mhm.
but that's obviously, very, very different when it comes to I mean, there's a little bit of overlap, but I feel like that's really where it shines.
Yeah.
Um, Now do you think the mystery or the whodunit approach makes the kills more suspenseful? Because we're trying to figure out who the killer is, really.
I think that's one of the big draws of the murder mystery slasher, and that's one of the things that, like, Scream did really well, where one of these people is the killer,
Mhm.
but you're kinda wondering, well, who's who, and you're trying to put pieces together at the same time while these things are happening, and, I think also too, when you have a slasher that where the villain is, I don't wanna say the star, but the villain's sort of the star. Let's just say the star.
Yeah, that's fair.
Jason is the star of all the Nightmare on Elm Street or the Friday the 13th movies.
Yep.
Freddy's the star of all the nightmares. Um, but when you don't know who the killer is, that just adds a little extra something to it, I think. A little a
It's
little extra mystery that can go a
very
long way.
unsettling.
Very unsettling, yeah, because you might have just watched a scene where, the killer and this person were potentially having a good time together, sharing a beer, then the next scene, you know, Guy's getting his throat cut. Was that his buddy doing it? You know, I don't know. We'll have to find out in the end.
You can't trust them. Any
Right.
any of, like, our protagonists in the movie, it's you're constantly wondering who it possibly could be. Now, one thing about this film that I feel like was interesting was how does the prom setting compare to, we've had summer camps and
Mhm.
the suburbs and small towns, with other slashers. Did you feel like that this worked better for this type of film?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I do. I like the school setting. There's a lot of, like, college campus or high school set slashers, and I like that because we can all relate to that. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
not everybody's been camping in the middle of the woods, you know what I mean? Not everybody's been, in the somewhere out in the ass end of Texas, you know?
Yeah.
We've all been to high school, you know? A lot of us have been to college, so you kinda there's that familiarity there, and a lot of people associate high school particularly with, like, just the worst the
I know.
worst days of their lives,
A la
so
Carrie, that type
yeah.
of
Mhm,
movie. I mean, that's
mhm,
that's really at rock bottom, basically.
mhm. Yeah, everybody can associate with that setting, so that adds something to it as well.
We got Chris in the chat. What's up, Chris? Thanks for joining us tonight. All right. And now does the movie's final reveal hold up on rewatches, or did you feel like over time after initially watching it, did it feel like it lost its impact?
No, I think I think it, no, I don't think it loses its impact. I think if anything, it makes perfect sense. Like, we see, like, a lot of the big reveals in the murder mystery slashers today, and we go, "Oh, that's ridiculous. That's dumb. I hate that." This one made sense. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it also followed in that time-honored slasher tradition of a sin from the past coming
Oh,
back
yeah.
to haunt the sinners now, you know what I mean? So, you kinda got it, and I think, like I was saying earlier, a lot of people kinda related to the killer and felt bad for the killer, and that's kinda that's a rarity, I think.
I was surprised when you said that because it gave me a different level of appreciation for it, maybe to see it through a different lens on rewatch.
Mhm.
Now, where are you at on the sequels? Were you a fan of all the sequels that came after this
Um,
one?
I love part 2.
Same.
Love part 2 to death, can't wait for that new 4K. Part 3, I don't really remember that much about, to be honest. I know it's a follow-up to 2, but it's more silly.
Mhm.
And then the last one they did was not related to any of the other prom nights, and it's just sort of a straight up slasher, and I kind of enjoy it. It's not great, but, I have fun for it. It's just a slasher purist.
Okay.
I
Yep.
have fun with it, but I love the sequel. I love
Yeah.
part 2.
Prom Night 2 is straight up unhinged.
Mhm,
That one
mhm,
took a little while for me to discover it, but I think probably out of all of them, like, the deepest appreciation for that one. It
mhm,
just I don't know, it definitely takes some big swings on
mhm.
it. And
Yeah.
then Chris mentioned college. Let's talk about Cry Wolf. What do you think about Cry Wolf?
I like it. It's been a long time since I last saw it. I liked it before it kinda the reveal of, like, when it was a slasher, I liked it. When they
Yeah.
kinda revealed what was going on, halfway through, I kinda lost interest, but
And lastly, do you think that Prom Night gets overlooked in discussions of early slashers from the 80s?
I think it does, and it's odd because Jamie Lee Curtis I think Terror Train gets overlooked also, and Jamie Lee Curtis
Yep.
is in that one too, so I think those 2 kinda get overlooked, but at the same time, I don't think either's on the same level as, you know, Friday and Nightmare and even some of the non-franchise slashers like My Bloody Valentine, The Burning, etcetera.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of standouts from that decade, which is it's just crazy in hindsight just how impactful it was. Now I've got a personal favorite of mine that I wanted to bring up for tonight. We got
Ooh,
Slumber Party Massacre. So
I love that one too, man. I love that one.
that is one that once I saw it the first time, and obviously the sequels to a certain extent, but this one, there's something about it, just rich in atmosphere. The score is excellent. I don't know, there's just something with this one, I just don't feel like this one gets talked about enough,
Mhm,
especially because usually it's more Friday the 13th or Halloween,
mhm.
and this one, I don't know, just has a very special place in my heart, but, how do you think that the Slumber Party Massacre stands apart from other slashers of the early '80s?
Well, I think what that one added, and I love this about it, is it added that sleazy quality about it. It's a Roger Corman production,
Yep.
so you know that you're gonna have those Roger Corman prerequisites in there. You're gonna have nudity, it's gonna be a little silly, but man, it's just so much fun. And what's funny about that one is like, everybody came it's misogynist. It's even back in the day,
Oh, yeah. Big
it's
time.
it's anti-woman, blah blah blah. And like what people, it was written by a feminist author as a parody of slashers of that era. And it was directed by a woman as a straight up slasher. So you have it was written to be a goofy parody. It was directed as as a straight up
Yep,
slasher, but both by women. So yeah, but it's just so much fun, and the symbolism of the male killer with the very long phallic murder
oh,
weapon
yeah.
killing these young girls in various states of undress. Um, I I I love it. That's just a fun one I can put on literally at any time and
For
just have a
sure.
blast with. Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely a blast, and, it's funny because I remember watching this one probably when I was, like, in maybe, like, high school, and, you go back, you watch some of these, like, especially the slashers of the '80s, and some of the stuff kinda goes over your head, but now it's like you see it from a much different lens
Mhm,
where, like you were talking about, him having the drill, like, okay,
mhm,
we we obviously get what that,
mhm.
is supposed to represent. Um, Now, what back in like the video store days, do you remember seeing the VHS box art or like the tagline or image? Did it
I
stand out to you on the shelves?
I don't remember seeing that one at a video store until a little later on in life,
Okay.
sometime in my teens, but, there was a video store in my late teens and early 20s that was just if you were a horror fan, it was heaven because the guy who owned it was a horror fan, and his horror section was prodigious. He had everything from the big studio franchises down to stuff that was, like, shot in people's backyards on a VHS, you know what I mean? So he had everything.
Super low budget.
Ultra and he loved that low budget stuff, man, like, he if it was more homemade, the more he loved it.
Are you a fan of
Um,
the shot on video films?
it depends on the movie.
Okay.
It depends on the movie. There's some that are really sort of ambitious for what they are, like Video Violence, I think is really good.
Yep.
I like the Splatter Farm, the Cannibal Campout stuff. That stuff is really entertaining and fun. But there's some that are just really, really god awful. And I rented a lot of them because he would
Yeah.
recommend them to be like, "Oh man, you'll love this," and I take it home and I'm like, "Good lord, I, this is really awful."
Y
But
you have to, I think, go into it knowing what you're watching because it's
mhm,
almost jarring. If you're not familiar with the shot on video films, it's almost like it feels almost, I don't wanna say like amateurish, but I think compared to what you've seen before,
yeah.
feels like a little bit of a downgrade where, it's been
If it
cool, you know?
it feels like it's something you probably shouldn't be watching. Like, at what
Yep.
point is this gonna just turn into, like, a snuff movie?
Yep.
But to go back to the topic of artwork in Slumber Party Massacre, that is artwork that definitely catches your eye. That is very evocative artwork. That artwork alone got that movie countless rentals back in the day.
There's just something special about it, like, it just you can just feel the sleaze from the
Mhm,
cover art.
mhm.
And I feel like, speaking of which, so when you compare it to movies like Friday the 13th or Halloween, I mean, I would have to say, and I don't know about you, but I feel like this is definitely a lot sleazier than either of those movies.
Oh, without question, without question.
Now we know that this takes place in a suburban setting. Does that make it scarier since it could basically be in any neighborhood essentially?
Yeah, I mean, I think the suburban setting and Halloween did it so perfectly where, you know, the suburbs are supposed to be safe, right?
Mhm.
But what happens when they're not safe? So you have that kind of, you know, you feel safe in the suburbs, but then you throw in this element where you're not safe anymore.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that that's another one that a lot of people can relate to and, you know.
Something that, should be I mean, like, slumber parties. I don't know if like, kids or teenagers, like, really have them as much now, but I remember that was, like, a staple growing up, especially kind
Mhm,
of paired with, like, the video store days. So,
mhm,
to have something like that that you would always look forward to on the weekends, you put it in this movie, and it's absolutely terrifying that, anyone could be a victim, essentially.
mhm. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Now, how effective did you think Russ Thorn was as the driller killer?
I think I like him. I like him. You know, the denim, all the denim and the bright red shirt and the cowboy boots, and I love his dialogue. "It takes a lot of love to do something like this." He's a funny he's an interesting addition to the slasher pantheon. I like I've got his NECA figure.
Oh, that's awesome.
I would have loved to have met the guy and had him sign it. He unfortunately passed away,
I
but
know, such a bummer.
yeah, 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 I like Russ. I like old Russ.
He's got charm.
He does. He does. He has charm.
Okay, so we know that there's obviously a handful of, like, kill sequences that happen in the movie. Which drill kill do you think is the most shocking or memorable that you can recall?
Actually, I think the best kill in that movie is when Russ stabs the kid out on the lawn with the knife. I think
Oh,
that's the best kill in the movie.
yeah, that's gnarly.
That's a pretty gnarly one. Yeah, I think that's my favorite one.
And how do you feel about the sequels? Are you a fan of them?
I love part 3.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
love part 3. Part 2 is fun, but it's a
Yeah,
little too goofy, a little too silly. Part 3 is actually really dark, and when you know, the why the killer's doing what he's doing, what twisted his mind to become a killer is really kinda, you know, really dark considering it's in a slumber party massacre movie.
for sure.
But I've always part 3 was the first slumber party massacre I actually saw.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Um, so I love Slumber Party Massacre 3.
I gotta go back. That's due for a rewatch.
Yeah.
So, okay. So next film I wanted to run by you is a holiday slasher, none other than Blood Rage.
Mm.
What are your memories on Blood Rage?
Blood Rage flew under the radar for me for many, many years. It wasn't until probably the last it's only been maybe 6, 7 years
Okay,
since I first saw it. But it was one I heard rumblings about, but, like, it just never really came across my radar other than that. And, when I finally watched it, oh my god. What I was kicking myself that I'd taken this long to take the plunge because that is such a fun slasher.
I felt like this one was harder to come by because I don't really remember hearing as much about this film as some of the other holiday slashers that we'll talk about a little bit later. But I agree with you. I don't think it was really. It might have been, I think, when Arrow, maybe around the time that Arrow came out, the Blu-ray.
Arrow, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that was, like, when I actually had a chance to, like, watch it, and probably probably better quality.
Mhm.
Now for this film, do you think the Thanksgiving dinner backdrop makes the violence and the kill sequences more disturbing for this film?
Um, I don't know. You know, I think that was just a excuse to get everybody together. You know, like, how can we get all these let's not do a birthday party. Everybody's done a birthday party. What holiday's not really been
Yeah.
tapped into? Let's do Thanksgiving.
I mean,
Um,
they're not wrong, though. How many Thanksgiving slashers do we have like that?
there's very few.
It's unfortunate.
But the kills in that one and the effects in that one really blew me away. Like when the chick is cut in half and like
Oh,
the
yeah.
top portion of her is like, like I was like, whoa, this wow, okay.
Yeah.
And, just how crazy the killer is. Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great I wish I would've and maybe that was the reason why I never saw it up to that point was because it just wasn't very readily available. But, yeah, gosh, that's such a fun slasher. I love it.
Now, in hindsight, the VHS cover art, do you feel like that's a draw? Would you wanna know more about it if you hadn't already seen it?
What was on the VHS? I don't remember.
It is, I believe, the knife in the reflection of the girl.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
Yep.
right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think, for it's kinda like it's too on the nose. I think it's too on the nose. Like, if you're in the video store and you're in the horror section, there's probably 8 other movies, at least, that are gonna have very similar the knife, the
Yep.
person screaming, it's just too on the
It's
nose.
it's been done before.
It's been done to death, yes.
Now when you first heard about this movie, was it through word of mouth then?
It
Like
was
friends.
it was through
Okay.
word of mouth. If I recall correctly, I think it was just I was just doing a live stream and somebody was like, "You've got to watch. It's out now. It's fine. It's the Arrow Blu-ray, just get it, watch it."
Man, there's something special about that because obviously I don't feel like obviously we have a ton of, Thanksgiving slashers like that, so I always try to reserve it towards, like, either the night of leading into Thanksgiving or save it for the day, but now we have were you a fan of, the actual Thanksgiving movie, the
Yeah.
slasher?
Yeah, I
Okay,
liked it.
yeah. So for this one, definitely in a different type of setting. So this was in a low budget Florida apartment complex setting. How do you feel like that kind of affected, the aesthetic that the movie was going for?
I think it works perfectly for the aesthetic because, I get you apartment buildings, you've got lots of people around, like, some really good murder mysteries or murder mystery slashers, some of my favorites, some really good. I don't want to say favorite, but like if they're in that apartment setting, kind of like John Carpenter's "Someone's Watching Me,"
Oh, yeah, okay,
or
yeah.
um, oh gosh, what's the oh god, it's directed by the guy who directed Return of the Living Dead 2. Oh goodness, I
S
can't think of it.
Hold on.
But it's in it's in a similar kind of setting. Um,
See.
but yeah, I like that setting. I think that's an interest or Toolbox Murders, which takes place in an apartment setting as well.
Were you talking
Uh,
about Dark Tower earlier?
no, oh, I can't think of it. Um,
While you're figuring that
I
side
can't
of things out.
I can't believe I've forgotten.
It's okay.
Ken Wiederhorn is the director. Eyes of a Stranger is the movie.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, Eyes of a Stranger.
And we got Joel joining us. What's up, Joel? Thanks for coming to hang out with us. We also got Steven here. What's up, Steven? All right. So now, would you consider Terry one of the most hinged slasher villains of the decade?
Oh yeah, he's up there. He's definitely up there. He's
Interesting
definitely up there.
dynamic.
Mhm. Yeah. You know who the killer is early on. You're following the killer pretty much throughout the majority of the movie, and, there's no mystery there. There's no mask there. It's just
No,
him doing his thing.
just psychotic as ever.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, is there a certain kill in this film that really stands out to you? Machete kill, swimming pool attack, or was there like another one that comes to mind?
I mean, just and I don't think you see the woman get cut in half, but you see the after, and just the after of it is really crazy. And there's a deleted scene where he comes back and he kind of pulls the two pieces together.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, which I wish they would have kept that in because it's just so demented that he would come back and pull the pieces together like he's trying to put her back together.
I don't know how I haven't seen that. I'll have to go back and look for that. That's wild.
Yeah, yeah, but I the one when he cuts off the guy's he's holding the beer and he
Oh,
cuts the hand off and, like, you
poor
see the
guy.
hand yeah, yeah, that's a good there's so many good ones in that, but at the beginning when the kids kill that dude, I mean, all the kills in
Yeah.
blood rage, or just
The guy
really
was just trying to turn up for Thanksgiving, gets his hand lobbed off.
good. Exactly. He's just relaxing, having a beer, and then the next thing you know, oh, and also, like when the woman finds him and he's sitting like this and like she moves his and like his head just opens
Oh,
up. That yeah. Such
there's some
great effects in that one.
very underrated, I
Yeah.
feel like. Now, speaking of which, did you feel like the gore was effective for its time, or was it more about like the shock value that came with it?
I think probably both. I think I was shocked at how good the gore was, to be honest.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yes and yes.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I've got one that definitely raised the bar when it came to slasher movies.
Mm.
I got Friday the 13th.
Is that I see Adrian King's
Yep.
signature on there. Who else you got on there?
I got I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh. She plays Claudette. I'm totally blanking on what her name is.
Oh,
She was so sweet too.
yeah. Oh gosh. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
Oh,
yeah.
this is gonna bother me. Let's see. Oh, Deborah Hayes.
Deborah Hayes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yep. I met her a couple of years ago. I think it was her very first convention I met her at. So I remember asking her, like, did you know that people were looking for you? She said, no, I had no idea.
I'm like, you're in like one of the most iconic slashers, and you have no idea that like people want to meet you.
Well, the rumor was
You
that
know
she was dead. The rumor was that she died in a car accident years and years ago. So I think
what?
people kind of stopped looking for her at one point. Yeah, there was a rumor that she had died in a car accident. I think because I think people had searched her because the name she used in the movie was like a stage name, I think.
Oh, okay.
And so they looked up that stage name and there was a vehicle accident and the ages were about the same. So people just assumed that was her.
It's not funny. I mean, it's just wild that I don't know. Things can get twisted so
Mhm,
quickly.
mhm.
Um, Now, do you when was the first time you rented or watched Friday the 13th? Do you remember that?
My first encounter was with that VHS and the artwork on it. That artwork really disturbed me because,
It's
like,
creepy.
it's extremely creepy. You've got the people inside that the silhouette of the kill, like, they look on edge. You've got they're in the woods, so like, there's no help. They're far away, and they're within the silhouette of someone holding a bloody knife. Like, you just know bad things are gonna happen. There was something so eerie about that artwork that just the artwork alone kinda scared me as a kid.
I remember hearing about obviously, Jason being as iconic as he, is and was at the time, but I didn't know anything about the fact that he obviously isn't in this film, or I mean,
Mhm,
we get like glimpses of what would be Jason, but
mhm,
and I just remember the cover was just terrifying, but I was like so intrigued
mhm,
to know more about like what is going on in this.
mhm,
And obviously it takes a much different approach to it. It's a little bit more of like you got to be patient for this one, I feel
mhm,
like.
mhm.
um Now, was it usually hard to find at your local video store because of how popular it was, or did they have like a
N
constant rotation?
No, it was always there. I don't remember, though, the first Friday I saw was part 7.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember, like, I couldn't rent, if it was a big horror franchise or if I wanted to rent a movie, I had to take the box to my mom, and if she perused it and she thought it was just too ghastly for my young eyes, my young psyche, she nixed it.
Oh,
So, it wasn't until I was probably 8, maybe 9, before I finally saw my first Friday, and it was part 7. But from there, the floodgates were open, so I I really wish I could remember what order I watched them all in at that point, but I do remember eventually getting to the first one and, like, "Where's Jason?" I'm just
yeah.
assuming that it's Jason killing these people, and then at the end, it's like, "Well, who's this old lady?"
Who are you?
Yeah, and, so Friday the 13th is unique in that for a l and I think with most people still, it's it's the only big franchise where it's not universally the first one is not universally considered the best. And that's just because
Yeah.
Jason's not in it. But it's my second favorite of the franchise, and I think it's a really great just slasher movie, period, because I think it's really well made. I love the music. I love the dark, evil atmosphere. I think the characters are really well done in that. I think it's a really well written slasher.
Yep. It's gloomy, very gloomy at certain parts.
Extremely gloomy, yes.
Mhm.
And what Friday the 13th did is it upped the game. Like it yeah, they ripped off Halloween, but they took it further than Halloween did as far as into the splatter.
Yeah.
And that's when you think of 80s slashers, you think splatter. And that's all that is because of Friday the 13th.
Now, okay, so you were talking about this is your second favorite Friday the 13th. So, before I ask my next question, did it take a while for you to really appreciate this film compared to the other ones?
A little yeah, it took a little while. I think I got hung up on what's not Jason. So why
Yeah.
watch it if Jason's not in it? But it wasn't until years later where I think I watched it and I recognized like this is just a really darn good slasher. This is really good.
I come back to that movie like it's almost like a comfort movie to just
Oh
sit
yeah.
down and watch, and it's just there's like the little like tiny moments in the movie that just work so well. And obviously, all the sequels after that, they all have their own high points in varying degrees, but
Mhm,
there's just something about that one, kind of what you're talking about. It's like this very like kind of dreadful
mhm,
atmosphere. Like something bad's about to happen on the campsite, but
mhm,
we don't know. We don't know anything about Pamela at that point, so it's just kind of out of left field.
mhm.
And okay, so I have to ask. So you mentioned this is your second favorite. First favorite is it part 5?
Well, so I have to when it comes to Friday the 13th because I love the series so much and I love every movie
Mhm.
to differing degrees. I have to separate them. The ones I
Okay.
think are the best and then my favorite. So let me
Okay, fair enough.
part 2 I think is the second best of the series. Part 4 I think is the perfect slasher movie. Just
Okay.
overall. Forget about Friday the 13th. It's the perfect slasher movie because it hits all the criteria that I think you need to make a great slasher. You have good characters that you care about. You have awesome kills and great effects. Um, and you have like just that showdown at the end of it. That's just epic. So
That's true.
yeah, it just hits all the there's a little TNA in there for you too if you like a little sleaze.
Oh yeah.
It's dark as hell. Jason is absolutely vicious. The characters are great. It's well written. You love the Jarvis family. I think is so just well written and like you really don't want in a lot of slashers you want to see people get. That's the point of the slash.
Exactly.
You're
Yep.
there to watch people die.
Yeah.
With the Jarvis, you're like I don't want them to get hurt. I don't want them to die.
No. They're
You
so
know?
wholesome.
Yeah, they're a good family.
Well, I mean, okay, a great example, Tommy Jarvis, right? We were all that age at one point,
Mhm,
and when he's catching a glimpse across the way, like we've all been there at some point where you're just kind of like like checking out a girl that's a little bit older, whatever the case is, and um, yeah, it's that's tough because I always go back and forth between. I always say part 2 is my favorite, but
mhm,
I go back and forth between that and 4 just because they're so good on for different things, I guess.
mhm, mhm.
Um, Now, how do you feel like the camp setting contributes to the movie's suspense compared to like, let's just say more suburban slashers?
I mean, a lot of people just have an inherent fear of the woods.
Hmm.
It's isolation, it's not being familiar with your surroundings. It's the fact that the woods are very loud.
Yeah,
At night, they're extremely dark, so people can hide even during the day. I mean, there's, it's easy to hide in the woods, but at night it's
sure.
10 times easier. Like I said, lots of sounds, cracks and pops and
The
in the
isolation.
night. Yeah. So and also, you're far from help. If something bad happens, your help is a long way away.
Now, are you a fan of Adrian King's performance as Alice?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I am.
Okay. And then how important was the twist ending, revealing Pamela as the killer? Hopefully everyone's seen it, but um,
Spoiler alert.
yeah, it's my bad. But how important was this to the film's impact?
I think, that whole casting Betsy Palmer was supposed to be like a shock because Betsy Palmer back in the day, like people who were watching Friday the 13th for the first time in 1980, like its target audience,
Yeah,
they knew Betsy Palmer as like, she was on TV and she was like considered this like, this nice lady and this,
yeah.
she was wholesome and nice and friendly and she's on TV every day and blah blah blah. And now here she is killing these teenagers? Like, what the hell's happening? So there's supposed to be that shock factor of, oh, there's Betsy Palmer come to save the day. And then like, no, 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 she's there to kill everybody. She's been killing everybody. So
Exact opposite.
yeah, there's that shock factor that's lost on us all today because now people know Betsy Palmer as Mrs. Voorhees.
Oh yeah, yep.
So, but I think I really like her performance, and I think again you can kind of sympathize with her just a little bit because she lost her little boy
Hmm.
and it broke her
The
and
trauma.
the trauma broke her. I mean, she talks to him in her head.
Hmm.
She talks to him in her voice and answers in Jason's voice. So, she's definitely messed up, but I think you can kind of, and her performance is really good too. She was only there for the money. She only wanted to buy a new car. That's one reason why she accepted that role because they were going to pay her the exact amount to buy a new car because her car had broken down recently.
Who would have thought? Just something at the time. I'm sure she had no clue how not only iconic her performance would be, but where the film, let alone the franchise, would go.
She didn't think anybody would ever see it. She thought it was an awful movie for many years. For many, many years, she distanced herself from it. But later on, she really embraced it and she was on the convention scene. I would have loved to have met
I
her.
know.
She was at Scarefest one year that I didn't get to go. I think that was her last convention. And God, I kick myself every day that I didn't just go.
That's
But
a bummer.
yeah, she would have been, but and from all accounts, she was so kind to fans and yeah, so she really embraced it toward the end of her life.
It's definitely hard though, because now I'm sure as you realize, these movies that we obviously hold very, very special to us. Now at this point, it's like, it almost in a way really pushes me to go to some of these conventions or these appearances they do because I'm not trying to sound bad, but it's like, well, how much time do we really have left with some of the older actors,
Mhm,
actresses,
mhm.
directors? Um, Now, how do you think Tom Savini's gore effects shaped the word of mouth for this movie? Or maybe
I think
your desire
I
to see it.
I think it had to be huge because again, like that kind of splatter we had, nobody had seen that before,
Mhm.
and even though it wasn't my first Friday the 13th, that opening kill when the woman's throat gets cut, I remember, or it's not the opening kill, but it's like the third kill. Gosh, what was her name? I forget her character's name. But when she gets her throat cut and you see it open, when I saw that little part open up on her neck the first time when I was a kid and the blood came out, it looked so realistic. And granted, this was not my first Friday. This was not my first slasher. I'd seen special effects, but like that just simple little thing, like just freaked
Oh,
me out.
it's
It's so
uns
good.
it's so unsettling too,
Mhm, mhm.
Um, and which kill do you think stands out the most when you think of Friday the 13th?
I mean, for me, that one's still really, even though it's in 4K now, and you can see, like,
Yeah.
there's a difference, her skin color and the color of the
Yeah.
appliance. You couldn't notice that on VHS or on when it played on TV.
No.
Now it's pretty obvious. I still think it's a good effect, but I think the woman who gets the axe in the head in the shower, that is really good.
I love that one.
The arrow through Kevin Bacon's neck, that one is really good. Um,
That's another one that you can kinda I don't know if 4K has been as kind to, the effects on that one especially just because
y
it's a
you
little bit more obvious now.
you can see the toothpick sticking out of the thing that we're holding the head on. You can
Yeah.
really see the hair on Tasso's hands. Um, So I think, the axe really sticks out to me. The Kevin Bacon kill always sticks out to me. The throat cutting always sticks out to me. And the one kill, and I didn't realize how it's off screen, but I didn't realize how brutal it was until later on when the movie was in HD, was Harry Crosby Jr.'s death, where he's on the door and he's got all those arrows in him. I never noticed until it was on HD. He had one in the groin too. So
Oh,
she not just, made a pin cushion of him in the chest and one through the eye. She got him in the groin too.
this
Like,
poor guy. Oh
what
my
a way
god.
to go. What a way to go.
Terrible. Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, well, speaking of not terrible, I've got another movie for you. So I wanted to get your thoughts on The Mutilator.
Oh, I love the Mutilator. That's another one. That artwork was just so good. That one just leapt off the video store shelf.
Ah,
And that I mean, that's just a fun one. That one, was Buddy Cooper, that was his very first movie, very first thing he wrote. He financed it himself. And the whole kind of community of Atlantic Beach came together to help him, which is really interesting.
yeah.
And it turned out really well. And the kills in that one are excellent too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I've always loved the Mutilator, and it was great that it finally got that new release from Arrow back in the day. That really kind of, because it was one that was trapped on tape for a long time.
More obscure, I feel like, compared to some of the
Mhm.
other ones we've been talking about. But um, I think once it got a proper release through Arrow, I mean, that's really where people were able to develop a love for it.
Yeah, yeah, that was where it really kind of took off, because I'd talked about it for years, and people who'd seen it, they talked about it also, but there was a lot of people who, it was just, you couldn't find the VHS, and there might have been like one or two really dingy, dark looking VHS rips on YouTube or something, but that's not the way to watch it.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I actually had a chance to interview Buddy Cooper for I co-host a podcast called Beyond the Blood, and he was just so down to earth, just such a great guy to talk to. So I mean, it's interesting to hear his perspective on the first one, and then obviously I know you starred in the second one.
Well,
I
I don't know if I'd say I starred
listen,
in
I'm hyping you up, man.
it. I have a good little I've got a good little character in it though, I think. So Buddy was not I've had Buddy on the channel a couple of
Yeah,
times. We stayed in touch over the years, and he told me he'd written a part for me in Mutilator 2 and would I want to do it, and I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. So
that's incredible. I said because I rented it as soon as it was available, and I remember you kind of alluding that you had talked about it before it was released that you were going to be on there. So to see on there, I was like, "Damn, man, that's crazy."
yeah,
uh,
that was a lot of fun. That was a great time.
Very cool. Well, how did you feel the first one compared to other gore heavy slashers of like the mid 80s in terms of visibility at like maybe the video store? I mean, it sounded like this one was harder to get a hold of for you, correct?
I th- what it once the guy, the horror fan guy, once his video store came into town, he had everything, including the Mutilator.
Oh, no
So
way.
that was when I
Okay,
could finally see it. And like I said, that artwork, like as soon as, it just leapt off the video store shelf.
for sure.
And I'd heard of the Mutilator. So like seeing it there was like, okay, yeah, that was an easy rental.
Now, did you think this one of or the Mutilator is more of like a hidden gem then? Like,
I think it definitely was. I think it's definitely come out into the light a lot more thanks to Arrow. But yeah, it was definitely a hidden gem for a lot of years.
and then I know we were talking about the location that this was filmed in. Does the seaside coastal setting give it a different vibe compared to like our usual summer camp or suburban slashers?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because the
I
whole it was originally called Spring Break, so it all takes place during spring break. It's right there on the beach. They got a beach house. You're supposed to be there having fun, and then Big Ed shows up and starts
everything goes south.
starts hooking everybody. Yeah, yeah.
um and I really the only I come to think of it, really the only few movies that have almost like a similar like that coastal vibe. Like I always think of The Fog, and Dead and
Mhm,
Buried. You know,
mhm,
they're obviously not
mhm.
straight up slashers, but um, those few came to mind. Now, how effective is do you feel like the killer is for this film?
I mean, I think he's kind of unique in that, like, he's just a dude that, just lost it. You know, once his wife died, he turned to booze. He'd been sitting in that house for years and years and years. He secretly blamed his son for her death, and he's ready to get revenge
Yeah.
against his own son, and he's pretty brutal about the way he goes about it too.
Did you feel like the teenagers, did they feel like relatable, victims at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were. I mean, one thing, like, you know, we were talking with this movie and with Friday the 13th,
Mhm.
like, you know, they didn't deserve what happened to them. They're just good kids. You know, they're just in the
Yeah,
wrong place at the wrong time.
it's
And
unfortunate.
yeah, usually in slashers, there's always at least one or two people who, like, they deserve it. You can't wait for them to get it. But you know, like, even in the final chapter, you know, all those kids, none of them deserved what they got. You know, so
They're just trying to
yeah,
party,
just
have a good time.
trying to party, trying to hook up, trying to, you know what I mean? It's you know,
Nobody should be punished for that.
no, no.
Um, so how did you feel about, like, the practical effects for this film? Did you feel like they pushed the boundaries or feel over the top?
I think Mark Shostrom did an excellent job on that one with very little money. I mean, the what the classic hook through the woman's groin
Mhm,
like that. I mean, they did that really cheaply, but it looks tremendous. All the kills in that one look really good. But that was, I mean, Mark Shostrom was really talented when it came
for
to that
sure,
sort of thing. Yeah,
for sure. Um, and speaking of which, as far as, like, with that specific sequence, which kill do you feel like is the most memorable?
definitely the hook through the
Okay,
groin for
okay.
sure. Yeah,
Oof. Terrible way to go out.
terrible way to go. Yeah, yeah.
One sec. All right.
I think the drowning scene is pretty memorable too because it's just very slow and, you know, drawn out. And oh, by the way, to make the water murky so that you couldn't see the killer underneath it before he comes out and gets her, they poured milk in it. They poured tons and tons of gallons and gallons of milk into the pool.
Oh.
Yeah,
Interesting. I did
yeah,
not know that.
yeah.
Um, well, we're gonna switch gears here, right?
Okay.
So I've got one that I feel like we're a little ways away from, but I don't think that there's ever a bad time to watch it. I've got Silent
Ooh,
Night, Deadly Night.
very nice, very nice. I've
Do you
got the hold on.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm gonna one up you here.
Oh no. Oh, jeez.
I've got the big box VHS
Oh, damn. And it's
signed by
signed.
Robert Bryan Wilson.
Easy, Piz. Easy, man.
Okay, all right. You know,
I think I brought this upon myself. Um,
gotta have that big box, man.
here,
Come on.
let's for hold on, hold that up one more time for everyone watching. Oh
Yep.
man.
Classic big box VHS.
So how is he in person? What was it like meeting him?
He's very cool. I've had him on the channel a couple of times, or well, I've had him on the channel once.
I
I've
remember
met
that.
him.
Yep.
I've met him several times. Always super nice. Always super good to the fans.
That's so cool.
Um, yeah, just such a nice guy. And if he's at a convention, I'm gonna go say
Awesome.
hello and have him sign something. I've he signed good lord, what all he signed a ton of stuff for me. So he signed my figure. He signed, I've got an original Silent Night Deadly Night video store poster, double-sided,
Oh shit. Okay.
for the VHS release that he signed for me. Um, so he's yeah,
Would you
nice guy.
consider that one of your favorite like holiday slashers?
I go back and forth on Silent Night and Black Christmas as to which one I think is the
Okay.
definitive holiday slasher.
That's hard.
It's so difficult, but I watch Silent Night, Deadly Night more than I watch Black Christmas. I think
Mhm.
Black Christmas is a brilliant, brilliant movie. But Silent Night, Deadly Night, I think is also a great, great movie, but I think it's just got more of a fun factor to it. You can watch it more often than you can
I
Black
would agree.
Christmas. I think Black Christmas is technically a better movie, but Silent Night, Deadly Night just has that. You can just watch. You can watch Silent Night, Deadly Night in the middle of July. You can watch Silent Night, Deadly Night anytime.
I think what tips the needle for me is there's a little bit more sleaze with Silent Night,
Oh yeah.
Deadly Night, you know, and
Mhm,
there's
mhm,
something about that. I'm a big fan of, like, erotic thriller, films of, like, the '80s and '90s, so, like,
mhm.
sleaze is not lost on me, especially when it comes to horror, like, it's the best of both worlds really there.
Mhm, mhm.
Now, do you remember the first time you saw Silent Night, Deadly Night? Was it
Yeah,
on
yeah,
VHS?
it was on VHS. I rented it from the we used to call him we referred to him as the Burnout, the video
Oh.
store owner guy. We
Oh,
referred to him as the Burnout.
okay.
He really wasn't a burnout. I don't know why we called him that, but we referred to him as the Burnout. So,
Yeah.
I rented it from the Burnout's, video store. It might have actually even been a big box VHS that he still had on the shelf. I don't remember.
Oh,
I think it was, as a matter of fact. Um, but I loved it immediately, and I think what's really unique about it is it was one of the first slashers that I remember watching where you're following it's not about the victims, it's about the killer, and you're
yes.
following the killer through we're learning why he became how he became a killer, the trauma that made him a killer.
Yeah.
We watch him snap, and then we watch him go on his murderous rampage. Um, and that made it feel almost more personal because you feel for the character, you like the character, you sympathize with him because his childhood was awful, and a couple of the people he kills kind of deserve it. So, uh,
It's tragic, right? I think
it's
his
it's tragic.
upbringing is terrible.
Yeah,
Um
and the ending is tragic too when he's like Santa is gone. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's just a few of the things I love about that movie. But I love the Christmassy vibe to it. Like you said, there's definitely some sleaze in there. I love the silliness of it too. Like when young Billy meets Grandpa,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Grandpa's like, "It's Christmas night. It's the scariest damn night of the year. You
I
better run, boy."
I remember the first time I watched that, that was probably, like, when I was, like, early teen. There was something that was so uncomfortable about that scene, and in hindsight, you watch it now, and it's definitely a lot. I think it's a lot funnier than it should be,
Well,
but
and it shifts between like, it shifts from that kinda silly scene to now you're watching Billy's parents die,
oh, yeah.
and, like, the mother being SA'd. Well, she's not fully SA'd, but, like, of course, he's gotta rip her blouse open before he kills her,
Yeah.
right? You know?
Yeah. There's something going on.
Yeah, yeah, so, and, like, even the kill in the beginning where the Santa shoots the guy in the convenience store, like,
Oh,
there's just
yep.
something really brutal about that one, and, like, all he gets is he's like, $20. He killed a man for 20 bucks. So yeah, you kinda switch between, like, here's a brutal scene, here's a silly scene, here's another brutal scene, here's a serious scene, now here's just Linnea Quigley topless for 5 solid minutes.
Which I'm not complaining.
Not complaining about, but there's those shifts are kinda yeah, I don't know, that's just part of the magic of Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I think after, I met her back in, what was it, April? So I was just like, you put 2 and 2 together, I'm like, "Wow, I and now I've seen you in person after all these years."
Uh-huh.
Um, now did you hear about the controversy for this movie beforehand? Before you saw it?
I don't know if I did or not, to be honest. I probably did because back in the day, I used to do a lot of research into slashers. If there was a slasher that came across my radar,
Mhm.
and I know Silent Night, Deadly Night was one of them, I was online. I was on the horror websites. I was looking up this and that, looking at clips, like I really wanted to, like, investigate this movie.
Yeah.
And the more obscure they were, or the less accessible they were, the more I would dig into them. So,
Now, do you remember seeing, obviously, the infamous VHS box art? Like, was that, Santa climbing down the chimney with an axe? I mean, did that immediately draw you in when you first saw it?
Well, I knew I think I knew of the movie even before I saw that, but when I saw that artwork, it was just like, perfect. Nail on the head, Santa coming down the chimney with an axe in his hand. Beautiful,
It's iconic.
and again, very evocative that's like, that was part of the whole controversy is like, Santa's killing people? You can't have it's not Santa, it's a crazy guy in a Santa suit. It's not Santa,
I
you
I
know?
s I still get that reaction from, you explain to people like, "I enjoy these holiday slashers." They're like, "You can't enjoy that." Like, it's supposed to be wholesome. I'm like, "Well, not to me."
Wha I have a particular affinity for holiday horror movies because I love that contrast between, the bright lights and the holiday spirit, and then you throw in this dark element of, murder and mayhem. There's just something about that contrast that just really kinda there's so many holiday slashers that I freaking love and I watch every year, and it's because of that
There
contrast.
there's something that just feels like you're violating basically, these holiday traditions. You shouldn't be watching horror on, holidays, but um yeah, I mean, so how do you feel like this compares to, I know we were talking about Black Christmas earlier, but even something like that or Christmas Evil?
Oh god, I love Christmas Evil too. Oh
Same.
god. Um, that was when I saw way back in the day. I rented it I rented the Trauma video, and I was
Oh,
just thinking this is gonna be just another Trauma movie.
yeah.
I'd heard, like, it's supposed to be really good, but I'm like, "It's Trauma. How good can it be?" Like, I think I was expecting, like, a Trauma movie, and I watched it, and I was like, "My god, this is so freaking good. This is like a character study of, this is Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, but, not quite as dark and
Yeah.
as but it's dark in its own way,
Like psychological.
psychologically, yeah, and that ending, oh, god, I love that ending so much.
It's so weird.
It is, yeah, but god, yeah, I love that movie so much.
I just can't help but wondering, director, cast, like everyone involved in that. I mean, I don't know. It there were definitely some big swings back then.
And that's the director's only movie.
Which
That's
makes
his
it even more
own
incredible.
I know, that's his only film, and, like, look at the cast and, like, the guy who plays the lead, that's Fiona Apple's father,
Yep. Yep.
and you've got, Nick or not Nick Mancuso, you've got just tons of like, you watch that movie and you go, "I know that guy, I know that actor, I know that actress." There's just so many familiar faces in that cast too. Um, yeah, god, I just love that movie so much.
It's definitely, I feel like, a highlight. Once we start getting closer to, post Thanksgiving, you can really start diving into some of these movies, and that's the only time I really watch them, so it makes it more
Yeah.
special.
Yeah, but yeah, once December 1st rolls around, it's usually a coin flip between Black Christmas or Silent Night, Deadly Night, which one I'm gonna watch first, but then it's
Mhm.
like, you know, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, I'll watch some of the other Silent Night, Deadly Night sequels too, 'cause I like them. They're not great, but I like them too. Don't Open Till Christmas,
That's a good
S
one.
Silent Night, Bloody Night, which I love so much. Christmas Evil, of course. I know I'm leaving some out, but, it's just all December long is just ho holiday horror for me.
Did, like, Terrifier 3, right? Was that
Right.
Where did that land for you? Like, I mean, is that something that's gonna be in your rotation going forward?
Probably not. I don't really consider that one holiday horror. I wasn't a huge fan of Terrifier 3. I much prefer part 2 over
Yeah,
part 3.
same.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I've not wanted to revisit part 3. I've revisited 1, I've revisited 2, but, like, I just don't have a desire to revisit 3.
It's intense. It's not something I can just sit down and watch whenever. Um,
Yeah.
Now did you feel like Billy's arc is the Killer Santa make him scarier or more absurd for this film?
No, I think it makes him more sympathetic.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think he's probably the most sympathetic slasher in slasher history, really.
addressing the trauma head on, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, and he's still human, like, you can sympathize with Jason because he was just a poor kid that drowned, right?
Yeah.
But, like, now he's a zombie, he's a monster, you know what I mean? You can't sympathize,
Yeah.
you can sympathize with Billy because he's still just a broken man.
Yeah. Now, what kill did you feel like was the most memorable? Deer antlers, sled decapitation? Was there another one for you?
I mean, the deer antlers one, that one's of course, that's the big one that always sticks out. I really like the arrow to the woman inside the toy store. 'Cause
Oh,
it's
oh,
kinda long and drawn out, and then after she dies, you get those quick cuts of all the nutcrackers, like, reaction to her death, and you've got the Christmas lights and the Christmas sounds going on inside the store, and she's just laying there dead, and Billy just walks out. So, I've always liked that one. I think that one's a good one.
that's a great choice. And do you feel like the practical effects hold up alongside other slashers from the mid '80s?
Um, yeah. Yeah, I think so. I don't remember I don't remember those being, like, really over the top or super gory or anything other than the antlers kill, which, still stands out, still
Yeah.
stands up. All of it stands up, yeah.
And last thing I was going to ask you about, was this a movie that you felt like it was more forbidden because of the controversy behind it, making it a must rent for you?
What yeah, I mean, anytime you have something that's been controversial or something that people have tried to silence or hide away, of course, that just makes it, it's like saying, Don't put your hand in the fire." Okay, well, and then you put your hand right in the fire because you wanna you know?
Makes it more exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Now this is one that we were talking about leading up to this, and I wanted to bring up Just Before Dawn with you.
Mm, mm.
So, what do you remember about this movie? Was this from the video store days for you,
This
or
was this was from the video store days. This was another just blind buy. I don't remember if I did any research into this one at all.
okay?
I think it was just one of those where I was like, "Oh, this looks like a slasher, I'm gonna rent it." And then I took it home and I fell in love with it.
Now, was this a little bit further into you discovering slashers or earlier on when you
No,
were
this was I was into it at that point. This was rented from the Burnout's place, of
okay?
course. But it was one of those I don't remember hearing anything about it. I don't remember doing any kind of, looking into it at all. It was just like, there it is. It looks like a slasher. I'm gonna rent it.
Very nice. Now what about like the cover art to this? I mean, was that something that stood out to you?
Not necessarily, because if I recall correctly, the cover art was just like a silhouette of like a big guy, like at an like at an upward angle.
Hmm.
So it's just like, okay, so there's like a big killer guy in it. That's all I think that was the artwork that was, or that's the artwork that I see in my mind that was on that
Yeah,
VHS. But we talked about atmosphere and the backwoods, and that one, the atmosphere in that one is just so thick, and I love that score that's just like whistling.
oh yeah,
And that wasn't just like wherever they shot that, that wasn't just the woods. That was like dense freaking like the super woods. That wasn't like the woods in the camp. That was woods like you're in the middle of freaking nowhere. That's the way I remembered that, was like it was just dense, thick, a forest. You know what I mean?
well, funny enough, it looks like it's Brad Fiedel who also collaborated with James Cameron on the
Yep.
Terminator.
Yep.
Crazy, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Now, do you think the slow burn pacing makes it scarier than, more of the faster paced slashers of the era?
I think they what I think Jeff Lieberman really took his time with that one. He established the characters, he established the atmosphere, and he established that sense of dread, of lingering dread,
Mhm.
and that they're being watched, they're being stalked, but you don't know who and you don't know why, you don't know when until it's kind of too late.
For sure, and that actually brings me to another point. You brought this up earlier, but, do you feel like the Appalachian Forest setting for this film makes it feel more isolated and
Mhm.
suspenseful compared to, like, let's just say a summer camp slasher.
100%.
It's so creepy.
Yeah, yeah. And
Um,
and that one's unique too because it's not like, it's a little deeper than your standard slasher. There's more going on in terms of, the the killers. Um, and that reveal that there's 2 of them and that they're twins, spoiler alert, that was a really shocking reveal
yeah,
too, as I recall.
you don't see it
Um,
too often either, like that
no.
element.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I've just I sing that movie's praises as much as I can and try and get people to watch it, but I think it's still and there's a number of new releases for it out there, but I think that one is still just one that kind of flies under the radar, and I think probably the majority of horror fans have heard of it, but they just haven't seen it.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel like it's as known in the conversation when we look back on slashers from this decade. And it's unfortunate because I think it's just a very underappreciated slasher. Now, how did you feel about like the group dynamic with like the teens in this movie? Did it work for you?
Everything in this movie worked for me.
That's awesome.
Everything. Yeah.
Any favorite kills in this one?
Probably the one where the dude he gets that big blade. It's not like a machete. It's just a huge freaking blade. He gets it up through the groin. That's a pretty solid one. Um, and what's funny in that scene, that guy, he falls down and he's got a camera around his neck.
Yeah.
And when he falls down, the camera swings up and hits him in the eye. And like the actor like almost lost his eye
Oh,
because of that. Yeah. Like it swung up and hit him so hard. Like it, according to him, he almost
yeah.
lost his eye.
Wow.
But yeah,
Man, the sacrifices you have to make for these movies, I guess.
that you got to make sacrifices for
Yep.
art.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the reveal, I mean, do you feel like the slow reveal of the killers makes the movie more effective than
Mhm.
showing them early on?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And would you also introduce Just Before Dawn to someone new to 80s slashers? You think it's a good starting point?
I don't know if it would be a good starting point. I
Okay.
think, no, I wouldn't make it a starting point. No.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
Um, but speaking of movies I feel like are good starting points, what do you know about The Burning?
The Burning is just one of my favorite slasher movies, period.
I think it might be I'd probably say it's a top 3 slasher for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I feel
That
like
one
I'm letting you down. I don't have the clamshell
oh, that's
VHS.
fine. That's fine. I don't have the VHS for that one either.
It's that is one that's eluded me, or when I've had opportunities to pick it up, it is just it goes quickly,
Mm.
unfortunately. What do
I
you
do have an original one sheet though for it.
Oh, did you get any of it signed at all?
No, I don't have that one signed,
Okay.
but,
Still
got the
pretty
original
special.
one sheet. Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah, got it framed for sure.
Oh man.
Gotta represent. But that one, that's another one. It hits all the criteria I look for in a great slasher. The characters in that one are so well done, and I mean, you've got Jason Alexander, you've got Fisher Stevens.
Yep.
Their characters, I think, are just great, and again, just nice, likable kids at summer camp having a good time, playing pranks on each other. They felt like actual young people, they're in the bunk reading Playboy. They're shooting people with BB guns in the butt.
It's camp shenanigans.
They're having those camp shenanigans, and they don't deserve to die as horribly as they did. Well, Jason Alexander doesn't die, but
Yeah.
I love the cast in that one. I love the characters. I think the characters are really well written. I love the fun camp shenanigans that are going on in it. You've got some TNA in there for the sleaze factor, and the killer I think is Cropsey. I think I think he's a really good killer, but the kills in that one,
Oh,
the
they're
Tom
gnarly.
the Tom Savini effects in that one, those are those are his best, like people, people talk about a new the final chapter being his best work as in a slasher. I think his best work in a slasher is The Burning. That
Yeah.
raft massacre is still just one of the best sequences in slasher movie history, period.
Okay. Well, do you remember seeing this at the video store, like the cover art or, this
No,
standing out?
this one was kind of rare to find. Even the Burnout didn't own this one.
Okay.
But this was one that I'd done a lot of research on because I just heard people raving about it, and it was a slasher that it was one of the few that had eluded me up to that point. And I eventually, a buddy of mine, this is going to date me, but way back in the day on Amazon had Amazon exclusive VHS releases that they licensed through MGM.
Oh,
And on the slip, there was no artwork. It was just like it was like yellow with an MGM logo and the title at the top. That was it. And my buddy bought that VHS and we watched it one night. He and I and a couple other friends,
yeah.
and my mind was just freaking blown. It lived up. It exceeded the hype. I
That's even
loved.
better. Usually it's the
I
opposite.
I loved every second of that, and that's one I can watch just anytime. It's just so freaking good. It gets messy toward the end, and that was the Weinstein's first produced movie, and you can
Yep.
see even then they got to have their fingers in it, So toward the end, it definitely gets messy, but up to that point, and even with it being messy, it's still, I think it's just such a stellar slasher. And I think Tony Malin brought a lot of style to that one as well. And again, those kills. Oh,
They're so fucking good.
so good. Yeah, so vicious, man. Cropsey was just pissed.
It's it's a movie that, you know, I don't think it's talked about. I mean, it does within our circle, but just like in general, I mean, it's I don't know. It always makes me wonder, like, if this had maybe like a sequel or sequels, would this movie have been like more notable? I don't know. It's makes you
You know,
wonder.
I think part of this movie's well, I mean, I think it came out right around the same time. Like it just got lumped in with, oh, it's just a Friday the 13th knockoff.
Hmm.
And it was one of those that was like a regional release. And they actually, to promote the movie, they didn't send out the actors. They didn't send out the director. They sent out Tom Savini to promote it.
Oh,
So it was one of those things where whatever town the movie went to, Tom Savini went there and did an interview on the radio
yeah,
about the movie. So it was a regional. It didn't get like a huge wide release like Friday the 13th did. So it just it got swallowed up in that in all the other slashers of that era. And it really wasn't until I think that VHS release did a lot for it. But then
for sure.
well, MGM did a DVD release of it, and that's when it really got out there.
Okay. Yeah, that's some movie that I feel like is more of like a late bloomer. Took a
Yeah,
while to get its, kind of the cult following that it has now.
yeah.
Now, how do you feel like this stacks up compared to other summer camp slashers like Friday the 13th or
I mean, it's definitely a list for me. I think it's like I said, it's just one of my favorite slashers. Period.
oh, it's yeah. And especially this time of year.
Mhm.
What's up, Garrett? Thanks for
Eh,
joining us, man.
Hey, what's up, Garrett?
Yeah, I definitely feel like that is man, that is a movie that like late May, early June, it's essential. I
Oh,
throw
sure.
that on like a Friday the 13th part 2 and the Burning double feature.
Mhm.
It's a wrap.
Oh, by
um,
the way, this this
yeah.
this this dropped off. I had this on top of my Silent Night Deadly Night big box.
Oh, what you got?
It's Grandpa.
Oh.
So we were just talking about old Grandpa. So there he is
Jesus Christ. In all of his glory.
in all of his glory. Yes,
His
indeed.
creepy glory, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, do you think the story of Cropsy the caretaker made the killer more memorable than other slashers at the time?
I think so a little bit. Again, it's that classic revenge story. It's a sin from the past
Mhm.
coming to, coming back for revenge. Unfortunately, like all those kids that he's killing had nothing to do with him getting burned. We found out that the one counselor was involved in it,
Yeah,
but like, why not come back and just kill him and then go home? You
yeah.
got to kill all these other poor kids who had nothing to do with it.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
How do you feel like the forest and the camp setting contribute to the tension and atmosphere? I mean, especially I always say the campfire, like
Hmm.
mythology building scenes are so essential for me when it comes to slashers, and
Hmm.
this one's no different. What do you
Hmm.
think about like the atmosphere for this film?
Yeah, I love the atmosphere. I love the style. I think it's really underrated in that regard. I think it's a great looking slasher. Yeah, lots of atmosphere. It's got a great campfire, lore scene in it. Um, yeah, I mean, I love everything about The Burning. Everything.
It's close to as perfect of a slasher as you can get.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel like Lou David as Cropsy is as a killer?
Yeah, I love Cropsy as a killer. He's super vicious. Um, the makeup is not bad. The look is not bad. But I mean, as a killer goes, he's just vicious, man.
All right, I know we talked about the raft sequence,
Mhm.
but are there other kills do you feel like are as memorable or ones that stand out to you?
Yeah, the one where he jams the shears, the garden, whatever,
Yep.
through the guy's throat and then picks him up and carries him to the tree and pins him against the tree. That one's really cool. That one's shot really well too. Just
It
perfectly done.
feels personal.
Yeah, feels very personal, that one does. So that one definitely sticks out to me. I like the simplicity of the woman gets out of the lake and she's looking for her clothes and Cropsy just hacks her throat with the thing like out of nowhere. That's a good, and then like in slow motion, you just watch all the blood come out. That's a good one.
Do you think this film would have worked with sequels?
I think it could have worked with sequels. But I think part of its charm is that it's one of those that didn't get sequels. It was a
Mhm.
one-off. So I think that keeps the first one special, you know.
Feels a little bit more memorable, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Same thing with, My Bloody Valentine and, Madman, Sleepaway Camp. I almost said Sleepaway Camp, but um the fact that they only had the one entry kind of keeps them special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of a film that did get some sequels, got Sleepaway Camp
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
you.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right. So, what are your memories with this film?
That was a blind rental that I rented with my buddies, and we were not ready for that ending. We were not ready for that
How do
ending.
you take that ending? I don't.
With your jaw on the floor. That's how you take it. Um, but that's enough. Like most people when they talk about Sleepaway Camp, the only thing that's memorable about it is the end. I totally disagree
Oh
because
no. Yeah,
because
I
that
agree.
one has great. I love Ricky as a character. He's like the most foul mouthed little kid ever.
Hmm.
The other characters are great. The dialogue is so like the dialogue during that softball scene. Eat shit and live. Eat shit and or no, eat shit and die.
Yeah,
Eat
I was
shit
gonna
and
say.
live.
Yep.
Um, I love the characters. It's got kind of a fun quality about it. That then gets kind of your occasional like really kind of you know I don't know if shocking kill, but pretty shocking kill, and it's the murder mystery element there too. You think, oh, it's got to be Ricky, but well,
You don't know.
you really don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love those characters. I love the owner of the camp, and just he's just so who was also in Just Before Dawn, by the way.
Yep. That's right.
I love him. I love his outfit in that one. My God, what a stylish guy. No wonder that super young girl was in love with him. Just look at his style. Um,
Too much strip.
yeah, exactly, dripping everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, so you got great characters, you've got fun dialogue, you've got camp shenanigans, you've got some good kills thrown in there, and then you have that just mind-blowing ending to
Oh
send you
yeah.
off with, and like
Seared in your memory forever.
seared in your memory forever. Yeah.
You got GC joining us. What's up, GC?
I think what's unfortunate now is like people who discover that movie now, it's like they already know what the ending is.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a movie that, again, like what you were saying earlier, is that the ending is just so talked about. I fortunately did not get the ending ruined for me, and I feel like my life is better off for it
Yeah, I
because
agree.
I got to, it's like getting to appreciate it for the first time and the shock value being there.
Mhm.
I'll never forget those like animalistic sounds she's making. I don't know. There's
Yeah,
something so haunting about it.
yeah.
Um, Now, do you remember seeing Sleepaway Camp at the video store? Like, did the cover art stand out to you with this one?
The cover art definitely stood out to me. I think I recall seeing that one years prior somewhere. I guess I'm guessing at a video store.
Mhm.
But I remember turning it around and reading the little note on the back of it from the camper to his mom, and
Yeah.
like, people are dying and I'm really scared. And then it trails off into blood and thinking like, whoa, that is freaky, man.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing it years before I actually rented it. But there's also something really unique about that one. It just feels off. Like it starts out and it just feels very off. There's something off about it. There's the death of the guy on the lake, and then you have like the character who's clearly a guy dressed as a woman. You have like the little scenes where like, they're on the bed and the bed's spinning around and one's pointing at the other and you're just like, what is this is just strange. Like what's going on here? So there's this oddness about the movie too that really I think resonates also.
It's the ant.
The
I
ants.
remember, oh, the ant is so fucking weird, and I just remember, she's just, like, acting so strange about the physicals, and
Mhm.
you don't obviously, I think on your first watch, you don't realize it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
her behavior is just so strange.
Yeah. Yeah. But it all makes sense in the end.
Oh, it definitely does.
Yeah.
And then Juicy said I got to enjoy the ending without any spoilers. I have no idea how I made it to 2025 without spoilers, but here we are. Well,
Oh, well, good, good.
I
I'm glad you made it without
holy
spoilers.
hell. And then those animalistic sounds will haunt or forever haunt my dreams.
Mhm.
That's an
Mhm.
understatement.
Mhm.
Um, Now, did you feel like this was the type of movie you had to hunt for, or did video stores usually keep it in stock?
It was every video store that I can remember going to pretty much had that one. So it didn't seem that obscure. I think the sequels were maybe a little more obscure, but the first
I would
one was
agree.
definitely out there. It was pretty easy to find.
And how effective is Angela's? I mean, she obviously has a very quiet, shy demeanor. Did you feel like that built the suspense for this movie?
Mhm. Yeah. So you
Okay.
you you just didn't, you're like, how can this meek little shy, quiet girl, she's not gonna kill anybody, right? You know?
We were
It's
dead
always
wrong.
it, but it's always the quiet ones you gotta
Yeah.
watch out for.
Oh my god. um, and did you think her behavior made her like more sympathetic or unsettling, or
Just
both?
just unsettling.
Okay.
Yeah, just unsettling in a very good way.
Kind of the doe-eyed, just
Yeah.
didn't say anything. You knew
Sh
something was off.
she's got a secret to keep, and she's bottling everything up, and it's all gonna come out.
Literally.
Yeah.
um, so which kill stands out as the most shocking in this movie?
I really like the one where they push the cook guy, the
Oh,
filthy pervy cook guy into the big tub of boiling water pours on him, and like you see his face bubbling up and blistering. That is a really good one. I also think the bee kill is really cool. Like the ending of it where you just see the guy's face with all the bees on it.
yeah. The cook,
That's a
he
good one.
I'll never forget the, like, unsettling comments that he made as soon as the campers are pulling up. I'm like,
Yeah, he's
okay."
yeah, I remember watching that for the first time and being like, he goes, "What's he say?" He goes, something about fresh chicken or something,
Or
and like,
Baldies.
Baldies, yeah, yeah, he says something about fresh chicken and Baldies, and it's just like, "Bro, calm."
And you know that like, the rest of the camp, like, the camp staff, they've had to have heard this before.
Yeah, that would not fly in 2025, that would
Yeah.
not fly, that kinda
No.
language, yeah.
How did
That
the
guy that guy doesn't need to be anywhere near a kid's camp.
No, no, not at all. The worst part is I distinctly remember the scene where he goes to, like, make moves on Angela, and he comes out, and then they're asking him what's going on, and he's still in the process of, like, putting his belt back on. I'm
Put
like,
yep.
"I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
get it."
what do you think? What does it look like?
Nobody put 2 and 2 together, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
how did you feel like the twist ending changed the way you viewed Angela's character in hindsight?
Um, hmm. Well, I mean, I think it her silence and her reserved nature, it made sense. She had a secret to keep, and her aunt had reinforced, I think, to an extreme degree that she needed to keep that secret.
Yeah. And how would you feel like the isolation of the camp enhanced suspense compared to other slasher settings?
I don't know if the set. I mean, the camp in that one doesn't quite register with me like the same way as like it does in as far as isolation is concerned, is kind of like the same way as like Just Before Dawn
Mhm.
or even The Burning. Um, so that sense doesn't it doesn't really hit home in that regard for me. The setting. I guess I'm just too invested in the crazy characters and the wacky stuff that's going on, and then of course, waiting for Angela to reveal himself.
And Angela in all of his or her
I
glory, I
see,
guess.
and I don't know if Sleepaway Camp could be made today.
Oh, no. God, no. I don't think so.
I don't think it could. Yeah, you don't hear about a Sleepaway Camp remake and being in the works.
No. I think we're all better off for that.
Uh,
Uh, now, why do you think, and we'll kinda close on, for this movie on this question, why do you think the twist ending made this film such a lasting cult favorite?
it's just so shocking. No, nobody was expecting that. I think, and the fact that you're just like, you know, it's all just hanging out there in the end, and there's the guy's head on the ground, and she's making that awful face and the sounds, and
Sounds, man.
it's absolutely shocking.
Now do
It,
you
it's probably one of the most shocking endings in horror that really outside of people like us really talk about.
Yeah.
People talk about shocking endings like, well, Carrie, and it's like, no, 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 Sleepaway Camp.
Let me do you one better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, speaking of, I don't know if this one's necessarily better, but it definitely falls in to the camp slasher aesthetic. Madman.
Oh yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so was this a movie that you saw earlier on, like when you were getting into horror, or were you a little bit more seasoned by that point?
I was a little bit more seasoned by that point. That was another one that just kind of flew under the radar. Um, I think that one and The Burning just sort of suffered from the fact that it was released. They were released around the same time in that slasher boom. They were, camp slashers. And it just kind of, it was a regional thing too. Didn't have a major studio behind it for a wide release. It just kind of came and went. So uh, I remember like hearing about the movie and, oh, this is an obscure 80s slasher, so
Mhm.
I've got to track it down. I've got to find it. And then Anchor Bay released the DVD, like almost
Oh
in
yeah.
unison with like, okay, I need to really find this movie. Oh, Anchor Bay's putting it out.
Mhm.
Perfect. So I got the Anchor Bay DVD and I watched it, and I I really like it. I think Madman has a charm about it
Oh, it definitely does.
that a lot of the other early 80s slashers kind of don't. Again, like the characters, I really like it also has this very kind of regional feel where it feels like almost like the actors aren't necessarily professional actors, but like
No, not at all.
they're just locals, with the exception of Galen Ross,
Right.
who used a pseudonym for that one and not Galen Ross. Um, but it just has a charm about it. I think it's actually a really well made, really good looking slasher. The cinematography is great. I think Madman is a unique slasher villain. I love his, his grunts and groans. And yeah,
More
I like
primal. He's
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 very
definitely
very
savage, primal kind of
mhm,
feeling.
very savage, very primal. I like his backstory, his lore, the campfire lore for him, I think is really well done. I don't know. I think Madman is still lesser known than a lot of, than Sleepaway Camp or The Burning.
Agree.
It's still kind of not it's not out there to that degree. A lot of horror fans, I think, have probably heard of it. I don't know how many have actually seen it, which is a shame because I think it is a really good slasher,
I
really fun
remember
slasher.
I remember when, I know it was when Vinegar Syndrome put out the 4K. I think it was you and Christian were the ones that were really pushing, like, just word of mouth with that release, and
Yeah,
it's just so nice to see this movie. I mean, obviously, I have it in, like, the VHS format, so it's, not
yeah.
high quality, but to see how big of a difference it can go from something like that all the way on up to 4K is just remarkable, you
And
know?
Vinegar Syndrome did a really good job with that release. I kind of, like I think if Arrow had done it or a Scream Factory had done it, it probably would have gotten a little more attention than Vinegar
Mhm.
Syndrome. But Vinegar Syndrome really gave it a great, great release, and that certainly helped it get out there. And I've said this multiple times, but that release is so good. The picture quality is so good. You realize that half the movie's out of focus. You never notice that on the DVD or on the
No.
VHS, but like now that it's in high def, especially in 4K, like half that movie's out of focus.
It looks like, it's got, like, this kinda dreamlike
Yeah.
look to it, I think part of that almost lends to the charm to it,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's not I don't think it's ever gonna hit quite the same heights as Sleepaway Camp or The Burning or Friday the 13th, but it's like I still have to throw that into the mix,
Oh, for sure.
when June rolls around, June, July.
Yeah.
Now why do you think that it never broke through like, some of those films that I mentioned?
Yeah, I think it just got lost in the shuffle. It was a
Mhm,
small movie, just regional releases, no big studio to back it, and I think it was just kind of, "Oh, it's just another Friday the 13th wannabe."
for
So,
sure.
and then it just sort of fell into obscurity and, um, thank goodness, for Anchor Bay and thank goodness for Vinegar Syndrome, or else it might still be there.
Yeah. Now, do you think the campfire legend opening was an effective way to set up like the film's mythos for Madman Mars?
What's so great about that opening is, like, they cut the editing in that is really good because they cut between, like, they're not just talking about what happened, they're showing you what happened.
Oh yeah, it's
And li
creepy.
yeah, and like you said, the lighting in that one is great. It gives it this very dreamy, dreamlike atmosphere,
Hmm.
and, like, the DVD was very blue, like, the nighttime scenes were very blue, and that added to that dreamlike quality too. You didn't really get that with the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray. I think they tried to put some of that blue back into it with the 4K, but, I don't know, I don't know. I like the blue in that movie because
Yeah,
you have, like, the lighting makes it very glowy and
yeah.
dreamlike, and then you have, like, the blue night around it, which I think is a really cool aesthetic.
If I recall correctly, this is one that takes place close. Is it closer to like fall?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you can tell it's cold too because
yeah.
everybody there's wearing coats, like, the trees are kinda dying in that fall mode, so
Hmm.
it's not, like, lush, the forest, it's kinda dead, and I think that adds something to it as well.
For sure. Now, are there certain like kills that stuck out with you the most in this one?
I love the kill where the girl she's running through the cabin and she opens the door, and there he is with the axe, and she makes this face of just utter shock and terror before the axe is driven into her chest, and she keeps that exact look on her face even with the axe in her chest, and she like reels backwards and just dies with that same look on her face. That's my favorite kill in the whole movie.
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that because I think I watched it at the beginning of summer. But listen, there's never a bad time for Madman.
No.
Um, and did you think the design of Madman Mars himself was scary, or was it more of like the atmosphere that you felt like did the heavy lifting
I
for
mean,
it?
I think it's the whole 9 yards. I think that makeup design for him, again, like you said, he's very animalistic.
Hmm.
And I think that makeup design was really good for him too. And he's, the way he moves and runs around and, it reminds me a little bit of Jason in Friday the 13th part 2, but like he's just more, it's like he's more animal than man now.
Yeah. And then, did you think the kills were creative compared to other slashers of this time?
Um I mean, the only like creative kill that I remember is when he jumps on the hood of the truck and it cuts off the guy's head, and
Oh,
it's like a perfect cut.
yeah.
Like that hood had like a Ginsu knife under it, and it just chopped that guy's head clean off. That's the only one that really kind of sticks out, is like
Yeah.
it's different, you know?
I don't think that this one, like when I think of Madman, I don't really think of the kills being like the highlight. I think it's more the atmosphere. I think takes the driver's seat for this one.
It's the atmosphere, it's the charm, and it's just I think it's just Madman himself, really.
And then looking back, does Madman feel like one of those underrated gems you only discovered through the magic of like video store browsing?
Uh That one I didn't even discover in the video store. That was
Oh, okay.
that was the Anchor Bay DVD how I discovered that one, but it was one that I'd like, I would say more online browsing, like,
Oh,
looking
okay. Okay.
through, forums, people talking about obscure slashers and, "Oh, there's one called Madman. I don't think I've ever heard of it. Let me look into it." And then, "Oh, it's coming out on DVD. Awesome. Let's get it." What great timing.
Well, speaking of great timing, I've got one that followed up an immortal classic.
Mm,
Ho oh, sorry, I got the glare. Halloween
mm.
2.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, you know, I think when you talk about the original, I mean, that's definitely in the conversation for one of the best slashers of all time.
mhm.
Do you think that maybe not necessarily hits the same heights, but, Halloween 2, where does that fall for you, I guess, just overall in the franchise?
I I love Halloween too. And usually
Same.
every Halloween season, I watch it first.
Oh,
Yeah. There's
really?
there's something about Halloween 2 that's very it's just kind of it's mean. It's a mean slasher movie.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of that is because John Carpenter really hated writing it, and like a lot of his, I don't know, just his disgust kinda went into that movie. So I don't know. I've always loved Halloween 2, um, because I think it's kind of a mean slasher. It is a good continuation of the first one, but it has enough of its own identity as more of a straightforward Halloween is very elegant. It's very, measured, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's a great suspense slasher.
Yeah.
Halloween 2 is just a slasher.
How do you feel about the hospital setting? I mean, it's much different compared to the first one, you
I
know?
love the hospital setting.
It's so effective.
That's one of my favorite parts of it is the hospital setting, because hospitals are a place of pain and sickness and death,
Mhm.
and then you literally have the boogeyman haunting the halls.
It's
So,
inevitable.
it's inevitable. And look, when I was a kid, my grandmother was sick a lot, and I would go to the emergency room, or if she was in the hospital, I'd go
Mhm.
and visit her. And one of the things I would do is just walk the halls of the hospital.
Oof.
And, that was interesting as a younger, not quite a kid, but as a younger person, just walking the hospital halls and getting that vibe.
It's
And I remember
uncomfortable.
it is, it can't yeah.
Mhm.
And I remember well, this was years after Hallow I'd seen Halloween 2. I went to the ho there was a small town, but for some reason, they built a huge hospital in it. So half the hospital was just unpopulated. No
Okay.
lights on,
Oof.
nobody. Yeah. And my grandmother was in the hospital. I don't even remember why. And I went for a walk and I found myself in the empty dark area,
Nope.
walking down those
Nope.
dark hallways. And I just felt like I was in Halloween 2. It was awesome. I didn't want to leave. I was like, "Oh man, I'm in Halloween 2 here." Um, and like there wasn't even anybody there to tell me like, "Hey, you can't be here."
Yeah.
Or like this part's closed. And it's not like they even had it locked off. I just walked by a door and I looked in and said, "Oh, that's the empty section. I'm gonna walk in." I just opened the door and walked right in and was walking up and down the
Wow.
halls. Look, yeah. So but yeah, the hospital setting is a big plus for me with Halloween 2 because I mean, again, that's supposed to be a safe place, right?
Mhm.
You're supposed to have, you're supposed to feel, supposed to feel safe there.
It's,
Um,
I don't know, there's just something about it that, obviously this picks up immediately after the first one,
right.
and this is a place where Laurie's supposed to feel safe,
Yeah.
you know, and it's the opposite. I mean,
Yeah.
it just feels like, Michael Myers stealthily gets in,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it's just he starts just taking everyone down one by one, and it just progressively gets darker and
Yeah.
darker in the hospital. Now do you remember seeing this at the video store? You have the pumpkin with the skull cover art.
I do vaguely remember seeing that artwork, but the first time I saw it was on television,
Oh,
and
okay.
and I was watching it with my mother as a little boy.
Mhm.
Now, the Halloween movies were okay with mom because for mom's generation, that was like her Scream
Oh,
for
okay.
her generation.
Yeah.
So the Halloween movies, at least the first 2 were fine. I could watch those. But I remember one night I was watching Halloween 2 with her. I remember it vividly. We're sitting on the couch, and then the Ben Tramer death scene happened. And that really kinda shocked me because like, that was insult to injury. He gets hit by the cop car going a million miles an hour. He gets pinned
It's not
against
funny, but it's so over the top.
he gets pinned against the hippie van, and then everything explodes, and there he is just burning, roasting. I remember thinking like, "My god," like, even as a kid, like, that is wow, what a way to
Yeah.
go. You know what I mean? So,
Hopefully it
um,
never comes down to that, but
yeah, yeah, god, what a way to go. But, yeah, so, there's I love the portrayal of Michael in that movie. He's
Mhm.
he's very dark, demonic, sinister in that movie. I Dick Warlock, I think, did an excellent job as Michael in that one. Um,
Almost like very machine-like.
Very machine-like, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
He's like there's no human left in him. Like Loomis blew the human out of him at the end of the first one. Um, so I like that. I like that portrayal of Michael. I like the darkness. I like it. It's got kind of a nihilistic tone about it too. Like a lot of the characters are just kind of, Bud is just kind of a jerk.
He's sleazy too.
Very sleazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Gosh, the hospital setting does a lot for me as well. I love the scenes where he's stalking her throughout the hospital.
Mhm.
Um, I just love Halloween too. I think that's probably the Halloween. Well, I think I've still seen the first one more, but that one's my go-to. That's usually how I kick off the Halloween season is with part two. I wait till we get closer to Halloween before I watch the first
Yeah.
one.
Now, okay, so the fact that it obviously continues the original story, does it make it feel like it's an essential
Oh
slasher
yeah,
of the 80s? Yeah.
for sure, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. So, does the film's tone feel more like Carpenter's Halloween or more like the gorier, like '80s slashers that it was competing
I
with?
think I think it's a combination of both. I think it takes I think it's a good combination of both because you have a lot of the same crew that worked on the first Halloween.
Mhm.
So you've got Dean Cundy there. So it has a similar look about it. It's still elegant in its own way, but they had to kind of, they had to up the body count. They had to add some more blood to it. They had to kind of stick with, what was going on at the time to kind of, you know, compete.
Yeah, because ironically enough, I feel like, you got that with Friday the 13th, and that upped the amount of gore that we were seeing in slasher films, and then in turn, I feel like Halloween 2 was almost a response to that
Yeah.
to in a way compete. Um, how do you feel about Laurie's role here compared to the first one?
I mean, what role? She's catatonic for 90% of the movie. That was an
Yeah.
that was an easy payday for her. It's like I was like, so you're just going to lie in that bed for most of the script. Okay, cool. How much you going to pay me? Awesome, let's do it.
You
But
d you
I
don't
got to wear this awful wig the whole time.
you don't get much. I mean, up until really the very end, and even then, she's not really given a whole lot to work
No,
with.
no. Yeah, I think. I mean, she does the best with what she's given, which pretty much all she's given is like run, scream.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Kinda
So
kinda limp your way around the hospital, essentially.
limp around the hospital. I do love the scene with her where she's crawling toward the door and she's trying to yell at Dr. Loomis and the cop and the lady
Yep.
before they go inside, but she's so petrified, nothing comes out. Like that I think is a really good I think she does a really good job there. Nothing comes out until they're inside and they can't hear her. Then she can scream, but she's so petrified in the moment, nothing's coming out.
It
That's a good scene.
it reminds me of, like, nightmares we've all had before
Oh,
where
sure.
it's like you try to scream in your nightmare and you're not able to get anything out.
Mhm.
Um, but which kill in this film did you feel like stuck with you the most?
There's a couple. I really like the kill of, the nurse in the hot tub. That's a great one.
Mhm.
I like the kill of the girl. Like it's just so random that it's so mean. She's on the phone with her friend, and Michael jumps out from behind the couch and just stabs her in the
Oh,
throat, and the blood
towar
squirts on his
towards the
mask.
beginning,
Yeah, at the
right?
very
Yep,
beginning. Yeah.
yep.
Like that one's just so random and mean. Like, why her? Is it because she kind of looked like Lori, or was Michael just like, hey, I think I'll just hide out and I don't know. It's like
He's
it's just
up in the body count, man.
he's up in the body. Like he could have killed, old Mrs. What was her name?
The
Elrod.
neighbor.
They
Yeah.
could have killed Mr. and Mrs. Elrod super easy. Nah, this young girl. I'm gonna get her.
Oh, man. The scenes where we're watching him, like, walk around, and
Mhm,
he's just methodically going through their home and then eventually stalks, like, the woman that's on the phone.
mhm.
There's something about that, we obviously got that in the first one to, like, a different degree, but this just seems so much more spiteful.
Yeah, I love that sequence too. That's such a great way to open the movie because
Mhm.
like he's still there. He sees Loomis in the and like everybody's looking for him, but he's he's still in the neighborhood. Now he's got to find a new weapon. Now he's got to, he's still looking for Lori. Um, so yeah, I love that whole sequence too.
And then did you feel like upping the gore was necessary to keep pace with, like, the other slashers that were coming out around the time?
Yeah, it needed
Okay.
it. I mean, I think they could have even taken it further,
For sure.
Yeah. But they needed to, the Friday the 13th copied Halloween. Friday the 13th became huge. So now Halloween 2 kind of needs to copy Friday the 13th a little bit.
The irony.
Yeah.
And was this a go-to, Halloween October rental for you and your friends, or, did it get overshadowed by the first film for
No,
you?
it always was. Pretty much, I mean, any time of year. I loved renting Halloween 1 and 2, and especially 4 and 5. I always
Yep.
had to rent 4 and 5 together. Could never watch them separately.
That's true.
Had to rent them and watch them together.
All right. I'm gonna bring up another movie. I'm gonna have you talk about it. I'm looking for one that I wanted to showcase here in a sec. So, um, but speaking of showcase, what do you know about Terror
Terror
Train?
Train, yeah. That's another, I mean, that one is kind of a mainstay when it comes to early slashers, just like Prom Night, but it's one that I don't revisit very often. And like I kind of put it in the same category as Prom Night, but I think Prom Night's better.
Mhm. I would agree with that.
So it's
It
it's not one that I revisit very often.
it's a good I like watching it on New Year's Eve.
Mm,
That, New Year Evil, um, I mean, you just don't have too many that you can really watch around that time.
mhm.
But did you remember seeing Terror Train on VHS back when, back in the video store days or,
I don't
um
remember if I rented that one the first time or if I saw it on, like, late night cable television, like USA Up All Night or something like that. It
okay.
probably the latter. Probably on cable television was the first time I saw it. Although I'm sure I rented it at some point and saw the unedited for TV version. Um, there's a lot to like about Terror Train. I mean, it has a decent atmosphere. It's got that murder mystery element. I like the fact that the killer uses different like costumes and stuff. He's theatrical. I don't know. It's just a little bland, I think, to me. And I think it gets a lot more recognition just because Jamie Lee Curtis is in it.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, did
It
the image of, like, the mask killer and the conductor's hat stand out on, like, when you go back and look at it or not really?
Not really.
That's fair.
No. Yeah.
Um, Now did you think the New Year's Eve train setting make it stand out? Like, for the
The
the atmosphere?
the train setting, I think, is definitely unique. I think they do a pretty good job with that one because I mean, you're stuck on a train with a killer. Like, you can just jump off the train. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a very good setting. I think they could have done more with it, but, it's a good setting. I think they use it pretty well. But I think they could have done more with it.
Yeah. Now we were talking about Jamie Lee Curtis. How important was she to the film's legacy coming right off of, the success of Halloween and Prom Night?
I mean, I think it's probably the kind of movie that wouldn't have been made without her being in it, to be honest.
Mhm.
Or if she wasn't in it, we probably wouldn't be talking about it today.
Yeah. And then do you think the constant use of costumes and masks makes the killer scarier, or did you find it, like, a little bit more confusing than anything?
I think that makes it where you don't know who the killer is. The killer could be anybody because they're having a costume.
Party.
Everybody's in costumes, so
Yeah.
the killer could be anybody. I mean, that's something they do. I think they handle pretty well in the movie. I think that's an interesting aspect of it. The killer can be anybody in any costume.
Yeah. Are there certain kills in the movie that stand out to you?
No.
Okay, that's fair. I don't think they're as memorable, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, like, I don't remember, I don't remember, like, a good gory or, like, a good, like, interesting kill or a you know, I don't remember, like, I remember people dying in it, but I really
Yeah.
don't even remember, like, how they die, to be honest.
And were you surprised by the killer's reveal, or did you see it coming earlier on?
Well, again, it's that classic, a sin of the past,
Mhm.
the revenge plot. So I don't, as I recall, I wasn't like super surprised that it was the guy that they played the prank on at the beginning. It kind of seemed like that would probably be the obvious
The driving
choice.
force.
Yeah, that would be an obvious choice.
Yeah, it's that scene's just very odd.
Mhm.
And did you think the New Year's Eve party, angle to it make it more of like a seasonal rental, or would you watch this year round?
I'm trying to remember the last time I did watch it in its entirety, and it was probably when Scream Factory put out that Blu-ray.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that's the last time I watched it in its entirety. But, I mean, it's a New Year's related slasher. There's not a whole lot of New Year's related
No.
slashers. So, you could definitely add it to, if you've gotta watch a slasher movie on New Year's, that's the one. 'Cause I
Yeah.
don't remember New Year's Evil being that great either. Uh,
It they're neither of them are quality. I think it's just more like I feel like it's the holiday that really just
it's
kinda amps everything up,
yeah,
y
it's
you know?
it's the, what's the word I'm looking for here? The gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I wouldn't consider this a gimmick, but one that I didn't bring up with you earlier, and I kinda wanted to get your outlook on this is the Prowler.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
so do you remember spotting this VHS early on, or
I am pretty sure the first time I saw it was a rental with my buddies, and so what me and a couple of friends used to do back in the day at the Burnouts video store, he had a policy. You could rent 3 old movies, keep them for 3 nights for
okay,
$3.
well,
So,
not bad.
if it looked like a slasher, we rented it.
Mhm.
And The Prowler was one of those movies. I don't remember if I'd heard about The Prowler prior to then or not. Seems like I probably did. But, that's one every now and again I get an itch to revisit that one because there's a lot I like about that one. It's also a little slow. It's also a little kind of by the numbers, but the kills, Tom Savini again,
Mhm.
the kills definitely stand out, and I like the setting, like, you don't just get, like, the college campus setting, you also get the small town setting as well.
Yep.
So I like both of those things together. It goes out beyond just the college campus, you're in the town as well, you're seeing the town folk, you're seeing, the sheriff and the deputies, and you're seeing, like,
You feel like a
uh,
part of the town.
you feel almost like a part of the town.
Yep.
Exactly. And, I really like that opening I think that the killer in the military garb is a cool look because he's got all sorts of cool weapons. Um, and those kills are just some really good kills in the Prowler.
Now, did the cover art with, like, the masked soldier, holding the pitchfork grab your attention, like,
Oh,
just based on the movie poster, or
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did.
and what about the World War II backstory and the soldier costume? Did that make the killer more unique?
I think it did. I think it gave him a definitely a like, there's that scene in the hallway where the girl walks out of like, if I recall correctly, he's just killed the one girl in the tub
Mhm.
or in the shower, and the girl he's still in the bathroom with her. The other girl goes into the room to get something. She comes back. She hears a door close. She walks back upstairs, and there he is just standing in the hallway. Like, that's a pretty striking visual, just him in the hallway with the
Very
helmet on.
menacing.
Very menacing,
Mhm.
yeah. So, I do like the look of the killer in the military garb.
Now, why do you think that this one never reached the popularity of, like, the other slashers that were coming out around the time, despite Tom Savini's effects?
I think it just got swallowed up in the mix.
Mhm.
And remind me, what year did that one come out?
This one was 1 sec.
'Cause I wanna say 82.
81.
Okay, 81. So it was right there when, like, every weekend there was a slasher. So it
Yeah.
was just one of many, and I think it just kinda got swallowed up, and you didn't have, you know it was probably a smaller release too, if I recall correctly, so
I think you're right.
yeah, and, I don't know, I wouldn't say The Prowler's A-list, but it is a fun slasher with some great kills, and I love that setting. So, it is a little slow at times, the characters aren't that great, But the killer really drives that movie, and the
For
kills.
sure.
Yeah,
Well, and director, Joseph Zito
Joe
went on to
Zito.
do the final chapter
He
for Friday
did.
the 13th, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Now were there certain kills that stuck out to you? You know, the pitchfork in the shower, bayonet,
My
stabbing?
my favorite is the bayonet through the top of that guy's head, and it comes down to the bottom of his chin. And what's great about that one is, like, his eyes roll over white, and he's, like,
Oh,
still struggling with the thing in his head. And that one to me is, like, a really, like, striking visual with the
it's
wide
messed up.
eyes. It's messed up. It's messed
Yeah.
up big time. Yeah.
Now would you say, like, this movie is more remembered for the kills than its story?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then how effective are Savini's practical effects? I mean, do you think they still hold up compared to, like,
Abs Yeah,
before?
absolutely, absolutely. The last time I watched that one, I think it's probably a couple of years ago. All the effects still look really good. That head explosion with the double barrel shotgun at the end looks great. The when the girl gets her throat cut in the pool, the killer is just, like, slicing into it.
Mhm.
It's very slow, and it's close up, and it still looks really good. So yeah, those effects definitely hold up, I think.
And, do you feel like the kill scenes feel realistic and shocking, or do you feel more, like, stylized for the era?
I would say I would say realistic and shocking, to be honest. They're a little, I mean, maybe slightly over the top, but they're so violent and
Mhm.
so, sadistic, and, the effects are so good. Yeah, they absolutely hold up. I think it's a nice little combination of both, but more so on, like, the shocking side.
For sure, for sure. And did you ever, like, pair this film up as a double feature with something like, let's say, Maniac or The Burning or, Friday the 13th Part 4?
Not that I recall, although
Okay.
I think The Prowler, I think you could do a good double bill with, like, The Prowler and My Bloody Valentine.
Well, I've got just the film for you then.
Mm.
My Bloody Valentine. How do you feel like this compares to other holiday themed slashers like Black Christmas or Silent Night, Deadly Night?
I mean, it's a list for me. It's right up there. I love My Bloody Valentine so much. Love the setting, love the mine setting. Again, you've got small town, you've got the mine, and this isn't like a teen slasher. These are adults. These are
Yeah.
all adult people with adult problems. Like, you
Blue
have the whole
collar.
and very blue collar,
Mhm.
and you have, like, the love triangle going on. You have, like, you know, the and a lot of the people who die in the movie aren't the adults. I'm thinking of, like, the woman in the laundromat. He's going after
Oh, it's
everybody.
gnarly.
Yeah, Harry's going after everybody. I love the Harry backstory. I love the look of, as a matter of fact,
Oh, man.
I love the look of Harry,
Oh, let's bring
you
it in.
know? Yeah, I love the look
Oh, that's
of him.
sick. Where'd you get that?
Where did I get this? I don't remember. This is like a clay,
That's incredible.
figure. Yeah, I don't remember where I got this, to be honest. I've had it for so long, I don't remember. He just happened to be sitting there. Um,
Listen, I'm not gonna question
yeah, don't question it, yeah.
it.
But yeah, I love the look of the killer. I think the kills are pretty good. Once we finally got the unedited version,
Oh, it's so good.
the kills are really good. I like the characters. My Bloody Valentine is one I can pop on really just anytime. And you gotta love too how it's so Canadian, but they
Oh, it
want
definitely is.
they want you to believe that it takes place in the US, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is so Canadian. Like, all the characters, like, "We're gonna go down to the bluffs, yeah?" You know?
They're not
Yeah,
fooling me. This isn't West Virginia.
yeah, this is definitely not West Virginia. Um, but that just adds to the charm of the movie. I think charm, it's so freaking charming. I
Yeah.
I just I could watch My Bloody Valentine anytime.
Now, do you remember seeing this at the video store, like the cover art,
I the first time I saw it was on cable television. I
Oh, right
remember
on.
that.
Okay.
I remember I remember tuning in right at the time where he's stalking Mabel in the laundromat,
Oh,
and
it's so damn effective.
perfect timing, and I was like, "Okay, I we're watching this." So, I think probably after that, I did go rent it. I don't necessarily remember the artwork jumping out at me, though, from the video store, but it just took just those few not even minutes, just the seconds. I turned the channel, I hear the breathing, I see the black gloved hand on the window, and he's stalking this woman. I'm like, "Okay, I'm in. Let's
Yeah,
go." So, um, and then it just became one of those things I mean, I watch it at least once a year because it's just one of my favorites.
of course. Yeah, uh, it's so iconic, and there's just so many things to love about it, especially like, you start leading up to Valentine's Day. It's a must watch.
Yeah.
Um, do you remember renting it with like if you ever did rent it, or even seeing it on cable television with the expectation of like a cheesy romance slasher, or only to be surprised by like how brutal the kills were?
No, I think, I don't even remember the romantic elements that first time I watched it because I was just so into it because this was like a slasher I watching for the first time.
Yeah,
But yeah, then you get into and I think the romantic elements, that's like where you add I don't some people don't like it for that because they think it slows the movie down or that makes it too boring or whatever, but that's where your killer motivation stuff comes in. You've got the Axel guy who disappeared for all these years. Now he's back. He wants his girl back, who's now with his old friend. Um,
a lot of tension.
so you've got that tension going on. You've got everybody talking about Harry Warden. You've got people disappearing. You get, the Valentine dance. We gotta stop the Valentine dance now because Harry's back. Well, we're gonna have it down in the mine, which again, such a great setting because like where are you gonna go down in the mine? You're trapped down. If you can't get back up, you're trapped.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And mines are just not that I've been in a lot of mines in my life,
I was about to say,
but
Piz, how many you been in?
I've been in one. Well, no,
Okay,
actually, I think I've been in two actually,
okay,
but they're scary places. They're
yeah,
extremely dangerous. So you light a match down there in the wrong place, and everybody's going up. You know what I mean? You bump into the wrong thing, and everything's coming down. So
yeah.
they're extremely dangerous. So great setting, great killer, good characters, um, so much charm, great kills. Now that we finally got the unedited version,
Oh, it's so good.
and again, it's one of those special ones because it didn't get sequels.
No,
So
I mean, we got a remake, but I don't think it hit quite the same heights, obviously, as the original. The original
right.
is just so, I don't know, there's just something about it, like, it just hits all the right spots,
Yeah,
that movie.
it just feels good to watch
Mhm.
that movie.
Yep.
Yeah,
Now, do you think the miner outfit and the pickaxe make Harry Warden one of the more visually iconic slashers of the '80s?
yeah, yeah. Because the mask has got those big round eyes like he's some kinda insect, they got the the breathing apparatus,
Oh,
which makes that great breathing sound.
the
The
breathing
pick
is creepy.
Yeah, big time.
Mhm.
The pick, I think, is a great murder weapon. They may have borrowed that from Friday too, but still great murder weapon, and it works in the context of the miner.
Oh, it definitely does.
Um And, it's a mining town, so everybody's got that in their closet, right? It could be
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah.
So, yeah, or maybe Harry's just back. Maybe he just returned.
Getting the candy boxes with hearts in it.
And the little the
Human
little
hearts.
the little rhymes, the little poems. Yeah,
Who know Harry Warden was a poet.
exactly, yeah. And I love that ending too where, he runs off into the mine after he has to cut his own arm off to escape. He's like, "Be my bloody Valentine."
Oh, I don't know,
And then it's one of those slashers too that has its own theme song.
yep,
We've left that out when we talk about 80 slashers because
that's
a lot of them had their own kind of theme songs, and My Bloody Valentine had its own Harry Warden theme song.
Madman.
Madman had its own theme song. Yep,
I'm
yep.
trying to think what other ones.
Let's see. There are several others. Oh god, now you've got me on the spot.
No pressure. If we have to revisit this, I'm sure we can come up with a few,
We could
but
probably do a whole episode just talking about
oh
the
god.
but yeah, but I think the My Bloody Valentine one is definitely that one stands out to me the most, I think, out of all of them. So
Yeah. Yeah. Now, did you feel like this obviously it has a holiday theme to it, but does this make it more of like a seasonal favorite, or would you rent this or watch it year round?
personally, I could watch it all year round. I do kinda when Valentine's Day rolls around, I always watch it, but it's one that I could watch really anytime.
Okay. Okay. Well, speaking of a movie that I feel like probably either of us could watch anytime, it's Wes Craven's A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, of course. Who have you got signed on that one?
I
I see
got
you got Robert Englund on there?
yep, I got Heather Langenkamp and I got Amanda Weiss.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Nice.
so would like to
I've got the same 3 on my poster.
oh no way.
Yeah.
I would like to get Ronnie Blakely eventually at some point, and then I mean I don't think I'll ever get Johnny Depp. Never say never, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Probably not. Yeah,
yeah.
probably.
But there's other cast members that I would like to at least get a signature on it, but I felt like those were like the core ones I had to have.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, Now, when did you first discover Nightmare on Elm Street? I mean, was it VHS, cable?
It would have had to have been VHS.
Okay.
But I don't think I actually think I saw part 2 first. It was either part 2 or part 4 I saw first. Um, I don't remember which. I wanna lean toward 2, but I'm not exactly sure. The first one was not the one I saw first. Um, but might have it was either 2 or 4. I don't yeah. It's either 2 or 4. But, yeah, I mean, you can't talk about 80 slashers without talking about
Oh no.
A Nightmare on Elm Street for sure.
It's it's definitely got its staying power for a reason.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it introduced the killer who talks and taunts his victims, and it added that supernatural level with Freddy's own, really creepy backstory and, you know, and he's out for revenge too, you know? And I love the setup of, you know, how do you protect your kids in their sleep? How do you protect their kids in their dreams when it's their dreams that's killing them? And there's something really psychologically scarring, I think, about, you know, the only way as long as I don't fall asleep, I won't die. But how do you fight not falling asleep? You're gonna eventually fall asleep.
I mean, look at them. I mean, in all various forms throughout each one of the movies. I mean, they're taking, pills to stay awake or, drinking absurd amount of coffee. Eventually you start, I mean, even in a film that I don't think a lot of people can, really um enjoy all that much as the remake, but I remember we didn't I think that there was like those micro naps or like
That
the
that was something interesting that they one of the few interesting things they did bring into the remake was, micro naps, like, you can only stay awake for so long before you don't even notice you're asleep, but, like, your brain just shuts down for it because it has to recharge.
yep.
So you fall asleep, and you don't even realize you've fallen asleep. So I
It's
thought that was an interesting thing that they did bring into the remake.
it's very scary. And then we got Credence and Mikey joining us. Good evening. Thanks for joining
The
us.
Another thing about the remake,
Mhm.
they gave Freddy one of the most chilling, brutal lines of dialogue, probably in horror history, I think. After he kills the one guy, and he's, like, hanging upside down in the dream world,
Mhm.
and Freddy tells him, "The human brain can stay alive for 5 minutes after the body dies. That
Oh, it's
means I've
terrifying.
that means I've got 4 more minutes to play with you." Like,
It's
the guy knows he's dead,
yeah.
but he has 4 more minutes or 5 more minutes or whatever to be tortured.
Do you think that that film obviously it's hard to come close to the original. But is there something about that film that do you feel like it is overlooked?
Well, there's I got my hands on the I don't I got my hands on a draft of that script, and it was a much better movie than what we got,
Interesting.
because there was a whole thing in the in that script about, did Freddie really do it, or did the kids lie about it? And then the parents killed him because the kids lied.
Falsely accused.
Exactly. And like the bulk of the script was that. And like the kids can't remember, did he really do those things to us, or did we just make it up? And in the actual movie that got released, that's all of about 2 minutes of screen time. But for that script, that added an interesting element to it that none of the other movies had, that I thought was really smart. Like I remember the opening of the movie, the opening of the script is much different than the one in the movie. The characters were much better in the script, as I recall, and that mystery really drove the story until you find out toward the end, no, he really did do those things to you. The parents just gave them, I forget, maybe it was drugs or something that made them forget. So
Wild.
yeah, so
What could have
that
been?
yeah, what could have been, it would have, I don't know if it would have been a great movie. It would have been so much better though than what we got.
It's unfortunate because I think that what we did get with the remake, felt like very safe. Like you're repeating
Yeah.
a lot of the same beats from the original, like, and I just don't think that anyone was really looking for that or nor expecting that.
And if I recall it, because in the movie, all he did was, he hurt them.
Hmm.
He hurt them. That's as far as they could go in the remake. He hurt
Yeah, of
them. But in the script, he did more than just hurt them.
course.
So, but yeah, it would have been a much, much better, because keep in mind, the guy that wrote that script also wrote the adaptation of Cape Fear for Martin Scorsese. So this guy's not a slouch when it comes to writing.
Oh, I
So
didn't realize that.
yeah, he wrote a pretty decent script that they turned into what we got, unfortunately, through rewrites and stuff. Yeah.
Well, speaking of, I guess brighter spots when it comes to the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, do you remember, at least for the original, the VHS box art with
Yeah.
Freddy's glove and just
Yeah.
reaching out over Nancy?
I love that artwork, but the one that actually stuck out to me more was part two. That artwork really
Oof.
stuck out to me a lot more than the first one.
Yep.
I've got that around here somewhere, but um that artwork stuck out to me a lot more than I think the artwork for the first one's better, but the
Hmm.
artwork for the second one's just kind of, I don't know, that one really kind of creeped me out a little more. But
The
what
mirror.
what I thought was, no, it's the one. Hold
Which
on,
one?
let me grab it real
Yeah,
quick. Hold
yeah.
on.
Go ahead.
It's the old media VHS.
Oh,
This is the one that I saw in the video store a lot back in the
okay.
day. And this one creeped me out a little bit more
That's so interesting.
than this one. And now what's interesting about I found this at a secondhand store,
Hmm.
and this must be like a very early uh like printing, because it's got the VHS, the bottom closes on the VHS
Oh,
on flip. So, and I don't think when I first opened it, I don't think it ever even been opened, because the VHS tape looked
it
pristine.
could- wow.
So this clearly wasn't a rental. This was in somebody's collection, and I don't think I've ever seen one with that the bottom closes. So I don't know. I
I
found it in
have
a secondhand store for like maybe $1.
listen, can't pass it up. I think I have a copy of, I think it's Fright Night and Ghostbusters. That's like a similar, it's like the bottom's covered.
Mhm.
Um, Now, how important do you think, was Wes Craven's film in reshaping the slasher subgenre compared to, like, obviously we talked about Friday the 13th and Halloween.
Mhm. Well, I mean, by '84, the slasher boom was over. The
Hmm.
slasher boom had gone cold. So it was really the perfect movie at the perfect time because it wasn't just, the guy in the mask stalking the teenagers in the woods. It was, it was a dream demon. The whole setup was completely different. You had a killer that was taunting and talking to his victims, and it had really great, like that opening kill of Tina where she's going up the wall and Freddy's
Oh,
dragging her around the wall and stuff. That is great. There's a deleted scene after he's finished with her. She's barely alive.
mhm.
She's dying, but she can see him before she dies, and he's looking at her, and he goes, "Bye bye." Bye.
Oh,
And her blood is still oozing off of his razors. He goes, "Bye bye, bye
where
bye."
did you see that? Is that
It's
in
yeah, it's around. It's on some of the releases. You can find it on YouTube too, but it's really creepy the way, because like she's dying
Mhm.
and he's whispering, "Bye bye, bye
Ah,
bye," and he's kind of walking away too, and her blood's oozing off of his razors.
I gotta go back and watch that. Some of the stuff
It's
we've talked about tonight,
I
man.
re I They should have left that in the movie. They really should. I mean, it would have revealed him much earlier in the movie,
Mhm.
but well, no, actually, he'd already been revealed. But I mean, it would have been a very clear look at him. But
Yeah.
still, I mean, it is so freaking creepy, him waving her goodbye after he's killed her.
Well, did you feel like okay, so for the first film, did you feel like he was scarier compared to his later appearances?
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why the first one stuck out to me the first time I saw it, because 'cause I'm pretty sure I saw 4, it was the first one I saw, and by 4, Freddy's a stand-up comic. So, going back to the first one and seeing like, "Oh, crap, he doesn't have a lot to say, but what he does say is pretty freaking creepy, and they're
Yeah.
keeping him in the shadows." He's not out front and center like he is in 4. That definitely made him far scarier, in my opinion.
Even in 2. 2,
And
he's,
it
like, sinister, man.
and I love Freddy in part 2 because he is super sinister. I love the makeup look in that one too. Like,
Mhm.
he's got that, like, that weird looking nose, like he's like a witch.
Yeah.
So I really love part 2 too, because Freddy is just super sinister in that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
And I actually think 3 is my favorite of the series. The last time I watched them all, 3 was the one that really took me, because it's Freddy's still dark. He's throwing out the one-liners, but he's still dark. The characters are great. The effects, like this, it's super ambitious for, what they had to work with. The effects are great. The characters are great. The whole Dream Warriors scenario is fantastic. I I really think 3 is my favorite of the series.
Yeah. I definitely could make a, like, a strong argument for that because you start getting into, like, more of the fantasy elements that come
Mhm,
with it, you know?
mhm,
I think
mhm.
that's just what makes the rewatchability there for that one.
Yeah.
How strong did you feel like Heather Langenkamp's performance as Nancy was? Like, does she stand out as, like, one of horror's better final girls?
I did a final girl ranking with a friend not that long ago, and we both selected her as the best final girl. Or she had
Oh,
she
no
had
shit.
all she had all the attributes
Mhm.
that you would want in a final girl. We just, like, and it wasn't like it was planned. Like, we both just kinda did this, almost like this, bracket,
Oh, wow.
and she ended up winning on both of ours. So,
Damn.
yeah, I think, she's resourceful, um, she doesn't give up, she's tough, she faces her, her demons,
Literally.
yeah, and she prevails. So she has all the tools.
She's a I think what I love about her is she's a survivalist.
Yeah, and she's got that girl next door thing really down pat. Like, she's pretty, but she's not like, she's not like a supermodel.
Yeah.
She's the girl next door. You
She
know what
makes
I
it
mean?
cool.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just like her, you root for her. So, but to get back to, like, it's 84, the slasher boom's dead. And then here comes a Nightmare on Elm Street and just completely reignites it. And even though it started, the decade was almost halfway over, Freddy was the biggest horror character of that decade, without question. Freddy crossed over into the mainstream, kind of like the same way uh, uh, Art the
Like,
Clown has today.
oh yeah, yep,
I would say even he was even bigger in the 80s than Art the Clown or Ghostface or any of these other big horror characters that have crossed over and gotten mainstream success. Freddy was the first, and Freddy was everywhere in the 80s.
cultural icon.
Freddy was a child killer, yet you could buy children's costumes of Freddy for Halloween.
Yeah.
You could buy children's toys of Freddy. Freddy was on everything. Freddy was everywhere. He was on MTV. He was, he really, I think that he was the merchandise guy.
For sure.
He was on it. Like I've got Freddy squirters. I've got a Freddy stress ball here from the 80s.
Oh, that is incredible.
Let's see what else I've got here. Oh, I've got Freddy chewing gum from the 80s. I've got the Freddy. I mean, they made a Freddy head squirt gun. This is a squirt gun.
How can you argue with that?
I've got a Freddy yo-yo around here somewhere. I've got I mean, he was on everything.
Did you have you gradually over the years just built up a collection of Nightmare on Elm Street collectibles?
There was so much in the 80s.
Hmm.
And like honestly, there was so much of it that you can still find this stuff for a fairly reasonable price. And some stuff still in its original packaging. I've got a Freddy yo-yo in its original packaging. I've got a Freddy it's a little tiny ball you dip in water and it squirts you, still in its original packaging. I've got a
Wow.
Freddy figure that was, you remember those wrestling figures from the
Oh yeah,
80s?
yeah, of
The
course.
LJN ones?
Yep.
They did a Freddy one. I've got one that's in the original packaging and one that's outside of the original packaging. That's what kind of dweeb I am. But it
Nothing
was
wrong
just,
with that, you know.
it was just so easy in the 80s to come across Freddy stuff because he had really proliferated pop culture, which is so strange because of who Freddy was. His lore is so dark, yet every kid was Freddy for Halloween.
I feel like the closest thing that I had, I just remember like Ghostface was the the big horror icon
Mhm,
growing up that was like,
mhm,
mainstay, and
mhm,
everyone I knew had the Ghostface costume on Halloween with like the
mhm.
blood squirting in the mask and
Oh yeah.
the knife, and it just I mean, at the time, like, you have no idea how, you know
What's fun?
like,
What's funny about those Ghostface masks? Those were in stores before Scream came out. You could go buy one of those in Walmart for $1. Scream comes out, now they're $20.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just it's these are the horror icons. I just feel like it's so tough, for them to transcend. I mean, really, like you were talking about, Art the Clown is probably the closest thing that we've gotten more recently. Um, I mean, how effective do you feel like, Robert Englund in shaping Freddy as a horror icon right from the start?
Well, I mean, there is no Freddy without Robert Englund I mean, Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger.
Hmm.
I don't under and I think that's one of the big issues. I mean, we saw Jackie Earl Haley as Freddy. Jackie Earl Haley is a really good actor. I think
For sure.
if he'd had better material to work with, he could have been a better Freddy. But like even with bad material, and there were some bad Nightmare on Elm Street movies, Robert Englund still shined
Hmm.
because he was so good as that character.
Yeah.
And one thing that he did that was really smart, he was so ahead of his time. He like either trademarked or copywrote or whatever him as Freddy. So if you want to do an officially licensed Freddy product that has him as Freddy on it, you got to go to him. That's why if you look at, like, some of the more recent video games that have Freddy in them, it's the Jackie Earl Haley Freddy.
Oh, that's right. Even the merchandise, right? For
Even some of
some
the merchandise is
Mhm.
the Jackie Earl Haley Freddy, because they won't do business stupidly with Robert Englund, who is Freddy. So, and I think that's one of the issues why we haven't had another Nightmare on Elm Street movie, is because it's like they don't want to include Robert Englund, or they say, "Oh, well, he's too old," or whatever. But I think it's really because they don't want to pay the man. But
Mhm.
then, like, how do you do Freddy without Robert Englund?
It's so challenging because, we're getting to a point where, obviously the Friday the 13th movies on one side of it have just been plagued with, like, the rights issues for a number of years, and
Mhm.
then what I get concerned with is the Nightmare on Elm Street side of things. Is that gonna be going through something similar, with, like, the Craven estate?
Well, I mean, the Craven estate controls it, and from what I'd heard, like, they'd been close a couple of times to doing a new Nightmare on Elm Street. They had some really bad ideas, though. Like, they wanted to do one idea was a CGI Freddy with Robert Englund's voice, which wouldn't have worked. One idea was to just do an entirely different Freddy, um, a female Freddy, or a Freddy of color, which wouldn't have worked either.
No.
Um, and then, like, there was an idea that I heard that got close to greenlit, where it would open with Robert Englund as Freddy, but then there would be, like, this passing of the torch to a new Freddy, or a new character that's similar to Freddy, which I don't think would have worked either.
No.
So I think they've got their hands full with just, like, making the Craven estate clearly want to make a good Nightmare movie, but then, like, they're holding out for a good script or a good pitch or whatever. But, like, where do you go with Freddy? Who else can fill those shoes? Like, it's just, I don't know.
I just get worried that it's gonna get to a point where too much time is gonna be between, I mean, it's been a number of years since we even got a Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, and the tough part is, like, going back to what you said earlier, it's so synonymous with Robert Englund. So how do you take that next step?
Well, and you make a good point, and that's something that I've mentioned in the past too. Like, Nightmare was the biggest in the '80s, but, like, of those '80s horror characters, like, Freddy's definitely been knocked down a lot of pegs, because the remake wasn't very good, and we've just not had a whole lot of Freddy stuff in the past since the remake. Whereas we've
No.
had the Friday the 13th game that helped, you know, not just keep Jason alive, but introduce Jason in the Friday the 13th universe to a whole new generation of kids, a whole new generation of people. You had the Halloween 2018 series that kept Michael relevant, that really lifted Michael to places he'd never been before. Um, you've had, the It series was huge. The It movies were huge. Art the Clown's come out, and he's become this huge icon. We've got new Scream movies. Scream has been, Ghostface is a big thing again. And Freddy's just kind of disappeared.
Stagnant.
Yeah, nobody really brings him up. That Blu-ray set, or that 4K set that's coming out, I think that's a good sign.
Mhm.
I mean, that's going to bring,
Are you
clearly.
grabbing that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I
same.
mean I mean, clearly that, there's a huge demand for that, so that might, percolate things on that front to, hey, let's capitalize on this and make a new movie. But he's definitely been downgraded a lot over the years, from the heights of horror stardom to, like, now he's way down the list. Even Chucky, I think, has ascended beyond Freddy.
It's unfortunate because I think that, to have the Nightmare on Elm Street remake be, essentially the last entry that we got. I don't know. There's just something that's just so it's
Yeah.
like unsatisfying about it.
But at the same time too, like, and this is something that comes up a lot with all these long running franchises, like, do we really need another one? Or do we need another disappointing one? Like, everybody's pining for a new Friday the 13th, but it's not gonna be like in the '80s.
No.
It's not gonna be one of those. It's gonna be far more like the remake, but, even, like the nudity in the remake's not gonna be there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's not gonna be the Friday the 13th we want at the end of the day. And when it comes to Nightmare, do we want another Nightmare that doesn't have Freddy in it? Like it needs to be a really good, solid script. And
Yeah,
then maybe people will overlook the fact that it's not Robert Englund.
I
But you
think
gotta
that
have a really good actor to play Freddy.
I almost feel like that's probably out of any franchise, that's the one that's probably the biggest uphill battle to get it right.
Right.
Whereas any of your Friday the 13th films, your Halloween films, I mean, somebody else can easily just put on the mask. And yeah, obviously there's like the physical aspect that's important, but um, if you don't get the actor right for
Right.
Nightmare on Elm Street, I mean, I think that's just you're
Yeah.
almost better off not doing it.
Yeah. And I don't want people to think that the only thing I look for in a Friday the 13th is nudity, but
A little bit.
that element's probably not gonna be in a modern day Friday the 13th. We'll get they may even take the gore to like Art the Clown levels, which that's not Jason.
No.
That's not Jason. So I don't know. I just I don't know. I as much as I kind of want to see a 13th Friday the 13th, at the same time, I'm like, God, that what are the odds of it being like worthy of being the 13th Friday the 13th?
I know. I think the surprising side of it was that we never got anything after the remake,
Yeah.
especially for Friday the 13th, because I didn't think I mean, yeah, of course, it's not going to hit quite the same heights of the originals by any means, but I felt like there was enough there that you
We
could have
all
done something.
we almost did. We almost got another one with Platinum Dunes. It would have been part prequel. It would have been Pamela.
Mm,
It would have been young Jason. There would have been Jason's father in it. Um, I don't think it would have worked. I managed to get my hands on that script too, and it wasn't. We dodged a bullet with that one because it wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have worked.
same creative team. Would
It was Platinum Dunes. I forget who the writer was. The writer had a lot of cachet though, because I think the writer had created some series that had been really big. I don't remember what it was though. Maybe he'd worked on I don't remember, but it was some series that was big at the time. So he got that job, but he wanted a prequel. He did Pamela. Like I remember the script started
Mhm.
with these kids in a one of those watchtowers, like the park officer watchtower kind of
Oh,
thing.
okay. Yep.
And then they get killed by a guy with a sack on his head. The guy takes the sack off his head. It's Elias Voorhees. It's Jason's dad.
Oh.
Well, Mrs. Voorhees discovers that Mr. Voorhees is out there killing people. So she kills Mr. Voorhees. Then Jason drowns. Then Mrs. Voorhees does what Mrs. Voorhees does. Then in the end, Jason's back. So it was just a weird. It wouldn't have worked as a Friday the 13th movie. This series might work as the Pamela story that leads into the Jason story, but as a
Mhm.
90-minute movie, it's just not going to work as a Friday the 13th.
That's so interesting because I know we have the prequel series coming up, and I just don't know. I was a little bit more cautiously optimistic about it before the success of Alien Earth,
Mhm.
and seeing how well that's done gives me some level of optimism. But I just don't know if that's the format that we really need to see it in.
I mean, yeah, I mean, people are definitely going to watch it. It's going to get at least those first few episodes are going to get there'll be lots of viewership for those.
Mhm.
And if it's not good, it's going to be. I mean, the amount of vitriol online will be crazy,
Oh, I believe
crazy.
it. I mean, we've been waiting a long time to get at least something.
Been waiting a very long time, even for just this series alone, we've been waiting a very long time. So, they need to, hopefully it's good. I really do hope it's good. Um, I don't know how they're gonna drag that out into multiple episodes that are 40 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour long. I don't know how they're gonna drag that backstory out, but I really do want it to be good, and then we can get season 2, and now we get adult Jason, so
Yeah,
that would be cool. I don't know, I don't know, we'll see. It's coming out next year, so
yeah,
my fingers are crossed.
absolutely. Well, I can't thank you enough, obviously, for taking the time to come hang out on After Hours Video. Um, that's going to actually wrap up After Dark, our deep dive into the slashers that haunted our video store shelves. I just want to say huge thanks to Piz for joining us, sharing in the memories from summer camps to small towns, from mass killers to unforgettable final girls. These films still cut just as sharp today. Piz, where can the viewers find you at?
I am on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, all is Pizowell. That's where you can find me, and make sure you find me.
And you guys can find me at After Hours Video. I'm on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, you name it. And before we sign off, I've actually got a special announcement. So I've actually recently partnered with Valoria Video. So if you've been craving that true video store experience at home, now's your chance. So you can use the code After Hours 10, just the same way that I abbreviate for my Instagram handle at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Don't miss it. Stock up on cult classics, obscure slashers, and all the horror you've been hunting for. If you've enjoyed hanging out with us tonight, make sure to like, subscribe, and keep the conversation going in the comments. We'll be back soon with more late night horror talk soon. Until then, keep those tapes rewound, and we'll see you after dark.